It
Yeah,
is best for the
I just
country.
don't buy that. I don't believe that. And I think
Well,
that
it's
I
not
think you
what
could
you buy.
probably
It's what Trump does. You don't think of Trump. So you already said
no.
Trump.
Even outside of electoralism, I think the rhetoric just has to change. I think we have to stop painting Donald Trump as if he's a normal politician or as if he's a sane person that's driven by anything else than his ego. If you want to see more content like this, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Rinyald. And if you disagree with anything in the video, make sure you join the Discord and we can have a chat sometime.
Oh, what's up?
How's it going,
Hey,
Bentley?
man.
How do you pronounce
Sorry, I
your
want to. What's
last name?
Millo.
Millo? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah.
if
People get it wrong. Yeah, people get it wrong all the time. I hear Milo, Milo, everything.
I've heard. I would assume like Mio. That's what I was assuming because the double L. I didn't know if you're
It's
of
it's like
Hispanic.
it's an Hispanic. It's an Hispanic last name. It used to be like really bad apparently, but I don't know.
What do you mean
Yeah,
bad?
it's well, I don't know about bad, but it's hard to pronounce. It used to be like Harmelio or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was even worse. But
Okay. Sorry, I was just getting
whatever.
everything set up.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay. So I called you here today because I think it's crazy that you're still a Trump supporter.
I guess I wouldn't be as much as a Trump supporter.
What's your like give me a general take.
Um, I'd say I'm disappointed by this Trump term.
Mhm.
I am a regular Republican. I have conservative values. I just don't think Trump holds those conservative values.
Mhm.
Such things like abortion. Trump doesn't hold good abortion values in my view. I think he's kind of a pro-choicer actually. Me looking into that, I think that we need to deport people differently. I don't like
Mhm.
the way he'd be doing it right now.
Mhm.
Um, I guess I don't like how he's also really divisive, like really divisive. And just looking into it more and more, I don't want our politicians to be divisive, even though they already are. I think they work for the people, and they've forgotten that. I don't think Trump's helping that cause.
Yeah, so I mean I mean obviously I disagree that his stance on abortion is bad because I'm a pro-lifer, but or pro-choicer. Um but I mean yeah, I agree that he's like super divisive. I agree with a lot of the stuff you're saying. I just okay. So right now I'm at a point where it feels like there's a lot of sane washing for the Republicans. And I kind of want to I feel like even the framing that you just gave me there was like very very incredibly charitable to just how bad everything has been under Trump and how bad of a leader that Donald Trump is.
Well, I
So
could
I
have
guess
gone more, but I didn't want to like take up too much time.
sure. So do you I guess do you view Trump as like just kind of bad or like a bad representative, or do you view him as like because I view Donald Trump as like an actual real threat to the way that the country functions. Like
I guess I would view Trump as mid, over
okay,
mid.
okay. Um,
I mean, I do like some of the things he's done
mhm,
as like a pro-lifer. I guess like defunding Planned Parenthood, I think would be good for under my worldview.
sure. Well, okay, so maybe even more broadly, like how how big of a deal do you think it is for somebody to like kind of be in line with like American values? And what I mean by that is like the very baseline values like adherence to the general systems, like I'm coming into the presidential office. This is what I understand my power to be. These are the limitations that I have. Like how important do you think it is if the president keeps like pushing those boundaries or is like an expansionist when it comes to presidential power?
By basically violating the Constitution, basically.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I think it's important, but I think that some presidents have violated the Constitution that were like good presidents.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
agree.
I don't think I mean, yeah, I think that you can be a good president and violate the Constitution. I think that Trump is. I don't think. How do I say this? Honestly, to be honest with you,
Hmm.
to be honest with myself, I don't know where I am on Trump.
Hmm.
I don't know where I am. I guess I'd just say overall, I think I've been shifting more to like a libertarian conservative libertarian kind of views, I guess.
Hmm.
But I don't know exactly. I have been off of social media for like a week or two. So
That's
I mean,
probably good. Probably
you
good
know,
for
I had
your
to
for
take.
your
I
brain.
was feeling burnt out. I had to take a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
But I come back and a whole government shutdown's happening. So I mean,
Right. Yeah.
it's a
And that
whole
would that
mess.
would
But I mean,
definitely be like contributing to your thing where like he's not a unifying leader.
yeah, I think it's a bit divisive. Absolutely.
So I'm not do this is more just like an interrogation. Like I'm viewing this more like an interview, because like
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not trying to like push back super hard. I'm just trying to get a view because I think you are a very good archetype for a lot of the like young Trump supporters. And I think what's happening with you right now is really interesting because I've seen you kind of slowly shift away from the MAGA base. Even because I haven't been familiar with your content super long, but since the first time we debated and now where you're at right now, it feels like you are shifting further and further from like the establishment, like the Republican like established views, which I think is super interesting because it feels like that's necessarily what's going to happen. If you get more information, you're slowly going to drift away from the Republicans. Um, but I don't think that it needs to contradict with like because I know one of your main guiding principles is like you're a Christian, right? So you're just going to adhere to Christian values.
I mean, I don't know about in politics, but I guess I would have Christian values. I don't put my Christian values into politics.
So like the reason that maybe I'm misremembering wasn't the main reason that you're, for instance, like super pro life is because of your religion, right?
No.
You
It
have a
just because I
secular
find it to be
you have a
it, yeah,
secular
it'd
argument.
be well, yeah. I mean, you could say that. I mean, I think murder's wrong. Why do I think murder's wrong? I mean, because it's
Well,
in the
yeah,
Ten
sure, but
Commandments. So.
so
Well, yeah, but I mean, like abortion, it would just be. I find it to be a human rights violation. I think all human lives have a right to life.
okay. So
Yeah.
is this a development that happened since the last time we talked?
No, I mean, it's just been the same forever. I
Okay.
mean, I've always been big on abortion.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't really know, but that's probably my main issue right
Okay.
now.
Yeah, I thought last time we talked, I basically said like, yeah, I gave my abortion argument, which is pretty bog standard for a lot of Democrats, and it seemed like you were hesitant to engage because we weren't operating on the same Christian worldview. But maybe I'm
Yeah,
misremembering that conversation.
I don't know. I think. Well, I mean, what I remember, that was a long time ago. Gosh.
In internet time, it was a long time ago. It was only like
Yeah.
what,
I
a
mean,
couple weeks, a couple months.
I don't know. Maybe I think it was in the summer. I don't know. But I think that I would say maybe I was in a rush or something. I don't know. I think I
Maybe.
remember it. I don't know why I did that. That was kind of stupid of me.
Okay.
Um, I don't know. I guess maybe I didn't even have an argument to beat that one yet because I went
Maybe.
over at that time. I think where I was on that
Hmm.
was I could debate every other argument except for the consciousness one, the moral qualifier.
Hmm.
And then upon like doing more like philosophy stuff, I guess I could
Yeah.
be better
Okay.
on it.
Maybe that is why.
Yeah.
But that was just that was an aside. I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
But regardless, um, the point that I was getting at is that I feel like the more information that any like normal, because you're a normal person, you have normal brain functions. I can tell, and you operate in good faith, which I think is really unique about you, which I appreciate. Um, and I feel like those kind of people, once they're exposed to more and more evidence, is are necessarily going to be drifting away from the MAGA base because of how insane a lot of these things are and how insane the narrativizing is on particular issues. So when I called you here, it was actually mainly to test a hypothesis that I have where if somebody was going in with a level head that is sympathetic to Donald Trump and they were exposed to what I view as like the silver bullet issues for Trump, I feel like not only would it make them not Trump supporters, it would almost radicalize them against him. Um and I feel like that's the correct, not to be radical, but the correct answer or response to how we feel about Trump should be that he's a threat to the foundational principles of this country and that like he ought be. I basically want to convince you that there's no reasonable answer other than voting for Kamala Harris in 2024. I feel like that's the only reasonable answer that you can possibly have to that question. I feel like
I don't know
any
if it
other
would be
answer is
that.
going to be unreasonable.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think why I would never say Kamala Harris was the better option is because I really believe Kamala Harris wanted abortion all 9 months, maybe even past like 24 weeks. I don't know. I don't think she said it. I don't think I would ever say Kamala Harris. I don't think I would ever vote for Kamala Harris if I had to do it again.
Um,
I mean, you can test it.
would
Sure. I mean,
yeah, okay. Um, Before we move on to that though, I need to make sure that we vote for the same reason, or that like we view electoralism for the same reason. Because when I'm going to the voter booth, this is something that I just like presuppose in conversations, but I think I need to stop doing it. Whenever I go to the voter booth, I'm looking for the most possible positive change that I can affect. So if somebody, let's say theoretically there was one candidate and I had a giant like disagreement with them on 90% of the policies, but that 90% of the policies aren't enactable, and then the 10% of policies are, and then somebody that I agree with on 100% of the policy, but they're going to do nothing, I think it'd be better to vote for the person who is going to do 10% good, because that's what's enactable. That's like the material change that you would be getting through voting. I'm often critical of people who just vote for personal values or what a politician's opinion is on something when they're inactionable.
well,
Um,
I mean, you said they're 100%. You agree with them 100%, but they're gonna do nothing. How would you know that they would do nothing?
it would depend on like what the presidential power is. So if you want to do something that would not be possible as the president, I don't take that into effect, or into account as much whenever I'm um going to the polling stations. Um, unless there is a philosophy in which you're not going to adhere to the rules that bind you as the president. So the way that this ties back is that like there were a handful of things that Kamala Harris wanted to do that I think are really fucking stupid. Whenever she brought up the unrealized capital gains tax, I think that's really really fucking stupid. Um, but what she could have done that was actionable, I generally agree with. And when I touched on this last time we talked as well, but whenever people say that they voted in the general election for for access to abortion, I feel like it was probably misguided, because that doesn't feel like a federal issue. That feels like a state issue right now. After the overturning of Roe v. Wade, I don't know if a national. It's not my impression that a national codification of Roe v. Wade would stand, or that there would even be like any pathway to doing that. Just because of the supremacy clause, or not the supremacy clause, the whatever the fuck the clause is in the Constitution that says that the states, if it's not like delegated to the federal government, then it's a power that belongs to the states. I don't know if the federal government has almost any role in abortion rights. So beyond like personal philosophy or personal values, I don't see a reason to vote for Donald Trump um, for abortion rights.
I mean, I think you can also say something that Trump has done for pro-lifers that
Mhm,
wouldn't even be like technically a state issue. I mean, defunding Planned Parenthood. So
mhm,
think like a pro-lifer. Planned Parenthood in 2022 to 2023 performed about 374,000 abortions,
mhm,
approximately, if I'm right. Um, so, and he defunded them.
mhm.
And I think Planned Parenthood released a statement or something saying that they're going to stop doing abortions. So, I mean, that
Um,
could be something
I'd have
that
to check on that. Wait, hold on.
I don't know. I saw it, but I didn't have it on social media for a while. So I don't know. That's I'm just trying to. I don't expect you to take a trust me bro source,
No,
but
you're good.
definitely look into that.
I'm looking it up real quick.
Yeah, but I mean,
Um,
I guess it's because I just view abortion as really really bad. I view it
mhm,
as the slaughter of a million human lives every year.
sure, yeah. Um,
Which
so the thing that I was referencing there though is that um I don't believe that defunding Planned Parenthood would actually prevent those abortions. I feel like if you're going to get an abortion, you're going to get an abortion if it's legal. And it even seems like it's been a long time since I've read this, so I mean, take it with a grain of salt, but it seems like even a lot of abortion legislation isn't successful in cracking down on abortions actually happening. But even if we don't need to get into that conversation, it feels like defunding Planned Parenthood, I don't know if that's actually going to have a material change. And you can count it in his column, even if you wanted to. I feel like it's still drastically outweighed by a lot of the other things that he's done. Um, but aside from getting into like the particulars, I'm sorry, I got way too specific. Just in general, like is your philosophy one of like consequentialism? Like do you believe that you should do what will result in the best outcomes, or do you think that like when you vote it makes more sense to do it on personal values?
I think both. I think you should absolutely vote for personal values. I think that's okay. Um, I think that if there's someone who I don't know how to I don't know if I'm exactly getting what you're saying, but I just have to say this to maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
If there was someone who I didn't agree with 90% or whatever,
Hmm.
right? And they said all these horrible things, like I want to do this and this and this or whatever,
Hmm.
take it as you want. But they're gonna be more like active for the country. But these people are saying these horrible, or this person's saying horrible, horrible things. I don't know why I would vote for that person.
So it gets kind of touchy when we say like saying I'm going to do something, because it would depend on if you're talking about like specific legislation propositions, or if you're just like talking about rhetoric, because rhetoric is something that is super important to take into account for the presidential office. But what I'm saying is like, let's say that we had a way to quantify that somebody was going to do 60% good things and then the other person is going to do 50% good things, but you agree with like the philosophy and the ethics and all of the like personal positions of the 50% person. Would you value that over the change that would be achieved, like the extra 10% change that would be achieved by the other politician?
Well, you say like good things. You mean like good things across the board, or good things like one side would agree with,
Good
and one
things for
side
the
wouldn't agree?
good things for the country, like presupposing that you think that they are good things.
Okay, gotcha. Um, I mean, I don't really know because if we're saying 60% good things, 50% good things, but I
Mhm.
agree with what the other person is gonna do on 50%. I would also probably agree
Not
with
even what they're gonna do.
value,
Like you agree
or
with
I
the
guess
other
value.
person's philosophy more. Like you agree with their like they're more of a family man. Let's say that like one person like doesn't have a wife. Okay, he's kind of promiscuous, and the other person's like a family man. He has a kid. He has a wife. Um, he donates to charities all the time, stuff like that.
I guess I don't know. Maybe the 50%. Maybe you'd have to. I think we have to do it in more detail. I don't.
So the reason that I'm asking this, maybe tying it back will be better. Is that even if we're operating, because I'm operating from your brain right now, or that's what I'm trying to do. Even if we're operating from the perspective that abortion is ending a human life, and that one side generally just supports the ending of like thousands and thousands and thousands of lives. Um, if there's nothing material that will, or even if the material that is produced is minuscule, um, I feel like that isn't even like from a pro life perspective. I don't even feel like Trump is pro life enough or will be able to affect anything in furthering a pro life agenda enough in order to excuse some of the other the or like the rest of his rap sheet.
Well, I mean, I'm not even a big Trump supporter at the moment. So I mean, we can say that. I don't think Trump's a good person.
Hmm. Yeah, sure.
I don't think I think he's an immoral person. I don't.
Sure, and
I
I'm
don't
not
know.
I'm
I
not
mean,
saying I'm not saying so I'm not saying that you are a Trump supporter.
I'm a bit confused where you're going right now. I mean,
Where I'm going is that if if there's not much material change that will align with your personal values, and it will be drastically harmful if you vote for that person in regard to a billion other issues, I feel like I still feel like it is unreasonable to, because keep in mind the main thing that I'm here to talk to you about, or the main thing that I'm trying to prove, is that there's no rational reason that you can vote for Donald Trump. That's basically what I'm saying. And I would say that you need to vote in order to affect change. That's what you need to vote for consequences. If the consequences that are achieved by voting for Donald Trump are lesser than the consequences of voting against Donald Trump, then you ought not vote for Donald Trump. So it would make it unreasonable to vote for Donald Trump in that situation.
I mean, I guess I wouldn't. I guess I think consequences would also have been high under Kamala Harris. I mean, I think in 2019 when she was senator, what,
Mhm.
like California, she talked about mandatory gun buybacks. Um,
Mhm.
that's not good, right? I think I mean I think we could both agree that's not good. I think that's
Yeah.
unconstitutional. Sure,
Um.
that's a really big thing too, and
So
like
I don't
we're
even
just gonna
know.
take that.
I know that quote is contested. I don't know if she was talking about like buyback. She wasn't talking. She was specifically talking about like assault weapons, right? So that does narrow it down a little bit. I don't know if it's been demonstrated that that a ban on assault weapons would even be against the Second Amendment, or that a mandatory buyback for an illegal firearm would be against the Second Amendment. But it falls into the same umbrella, because I guess here's why I think Kamala Harris is infinitely more excusable than Donald Trump, is because Kamala Harris, at the end of the day, if she had a bad proposal, if she had an unconstitutional proposal, if it's proposed and it gets shot down, she would let it go. And
Well, I don't even think Kamala Harris, to be honest with you, not that I've seen, had really like true plans. I think the Democratic Party and why the Democratic Party right now is so unpopular.
Mhm.
I think it was 19% in one poll, which is really, really bad.
Yeah.
It's because I think their whole Kamala Harris's whole campaign was either, you know, I hate Trump, Trump's horrible, Trump's horrible, Trump's horrible. Um, women's rights this. I think
Mhm.
that's all I really saw. I mean, I guess my bad for not looking into Kamala Harris
Mhm.
that much during the election. I whatever.
Sure. And
But
a lot of that is just because like policy proposals aren't sexy. Like a lot of people rely on social media clips, a lot of people rely on the mainstream media in order to get their political understandings. And you're not incentivized at all to be posting about boring policy proposals when you could be posting about scandals of her withholding evidence from a guy on death row, you know? Like I guarantee way more people know about that than the policy proposals that she put on her own website like weeks ahead of the or months ahead of the election.
right, yeah,
But it's just
Kamala Harris
because
doing
it's
things like that.
I
I
don't
mean,
know if it's necessarily a Democrat problem. I mean, I guess the messaging is an issue, but I mean that's going to be the case for any politician or political movement in general. I think it's more so just like a messaging issue than a there's no real policy. I just don't think the policy ever got out because policy is boring. Like I don't think anybody actually cares about policy. Um,
yeah, you have a point there. I mean, that's absolutely true. That's why people got to do their own research. That's why
yeah,
people got to stop scrolling on Instagram and saying, "Oh, Trump said he hates all women." Oh,
yeah,
I'll vote for Kamala Harris. Whatever.
mhm,
But um, again, that's just what I saw during Kamala Harris's election. Like
yeah,
even me doing my own research, and even like the holding evidence with someone on death row, even though I had to look at like that exactly.
mhm,
But I mean, that's really just what I saw. It's just Kamala Harris, and you know, honestly, props to Kamala Harris because she was thrown into an election out of nowhere.
yeah.
I also found it kind of bad that they didn't run a primary. I know they didn't have time, but I feel like they should have
It was a
let the
little
voters
distasteful.
decide.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
that's what kind of gave me a little bit. You know, we're gonna call Trump a big threat to democracy, but then you won't let the voters of the Democratic Party pick who their candidate is,
And we could
which
talk about that, but
we
but
could, but
and we probably will. But um the thing that I'm getting at though is that if Kamala Harris came out and supported something that I thought was bad or unpopular or unconstitutional, I have faith in the Democrats that if it's unconstitutional, if it gets struck down, or if the populace just generally turns against it super hard, the Democrats are moldable. We saw the giant pushback against Joe Biden for relative inaction at the border, and then immediately what he did was he got together with Republicans in Congress. They wrote a border bill that, like, I know that the Democrats are able to adjust to the will of the people. That's something that I value a lot about the Democrats, or at least the Democrats of right now. And on top of that, if something gets shot down at the Supreme Court, I know they will listen to the order. So I guess there is there's obviously going to be decisions against any given president in any given term by the Supreme Court. That's a given. That's necessarily going to happen if any president is trying to do anything. The problem that I run into is that right now I feel like the Republicans are I can't trust that the Republicans are going to listen. I can't trust that when the Republicans get shot down at the Supreme Court, they're not just going to ignore it. I can't trust that if there's something highly unpopular with the American people, that the Republicans aren't just going to double down on it. Um, I think that's the big difference is that we can critique Kamala's campaign, and I'm more than willing to do that. I've come out multiple times and said that a lot of her fiscal policy was probably too far left for me. There was like certain messaging that I thought was really cringe, and she probably played into the far left a little too much. But all of that given, I know at the end of the day, and it's evidenced by Biden's term, is that they will adhere to the American government as it's understood, whereas Republicans have a different governing philosophy fundamentally than what the America is supposed to be. They're all unitary executives, um, which I think is really scary because not only do they have more ambition when it comes to policy because they believe that the president should be way more powerful than it actually is, but they also have justification to get around certain rulings if it doesn't adhere to their constitutional interpretations.
I mean, yeah, that's why I've actually been. That's a big reason why I've been drifting away from, I guess, the MAGA Republican movement.
Mhm.
Um, I kind of went more a little bit libertarian,
Yeah.
and yeah, you know what I mean.
Mhm.
But I think that I don't even know if it's necessarily Republicans. I think it's just, I guess, Republicans scared of Trump, which is not a good
Yeah.
thing. It's
Mhm.
Republicans scared of Trump because they call Trump out. Trump's no, they're a loser. Get him out.
Yeah. Mhm.
Whatever. Right, which isn't good. I don't like that about Trump. I think that's
Yeah.
really bad. I mean, and then it's MAGA's just kind of a cult like thing.
Mhm.
With some people it is, and so when you have something like that, I don't think Trump would speak for all Republicans. To be honest with you, I
In
think you're
in
just
some
slapping it
ways
on Republicans. But I think it's really just Trump.
in some ways he doesn't, in some ways he doesn't, because I mean, I agree that, like, if you were to sit down with every Republican congressperson, if you were to sit down with every Republican running for local office, you were to ask them about, like, a lot of these guiding principles, they would not agree with it. I agree with that. But the problem is that Donald Trump is the head of the country right now. Republicans are super incentivized to fall in line, and we're kind of running on like the, well, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, then it's essentially a duck. Like, if there is like a hidden, um personal moral objection to what's happening, but they're still falling in line and they're still being complicit in all of this happening and they're cheerleading it publicly and condemning it privately, I would still say that it becomes a Republican problem because the Republicans chose Donald Trump to lead them.
I mean, sure. I mean, you could say that.
Mhm.
Again, um, that's what I've been saying recently. That's my big problem with the MAGA thing.
Mhm.
It's all like it's kind of culty. I don't think it's a cult. Like some people will like literally call it a cult. I don't know,
Sure.
whatever. But I don't know. I don't even know what to say to that because I can't even argue it because it's just true.
I
I mean,
agree. So
yeah,
that
it's just true, right? I'm more of a I can look into economic stuff, but we got into an economic debate, I would lose horribly. I am so bad on the economy. That's why I have
uh
like
don't
some of my
overestimate
buddies
me.
go. Yeah, I am horrible on. No, no, I'm telling you. I'm pretty sure like maybe a 15-year-old taking a high school economics class could probably beat me. Probably. I don't know. But on the social aspect, that's where I am. And
Sure.
that's why I would still be a Republican.
Mhm.
But on that thing, I think they're kind of scared of Trump.
And again,
Sure. Yeah.
I don't think there's a problem necessarily. I say this all the time. If this was Mitt Romney versus Obama, I probably truly would not be on here debating politics. I really truly don't care all that much about like the Republican of old. I'd probably like I don't even know if I would see myself voting against Mitt Romney in certain situations. Like
Really?
I am incredibly sympathetic to a lot of Republican ideology. The I may not agree with a lot of it, but I'm much more sympathetic, and I don't know if I would be having these debates if I didn't view the Republican Party as like a crazy train that's like 30 miles off of the tracks. Um, but I feel like so the main reason why I'm talking to you, beyond the fact that I think you're open to new ideas, is that I feel like I feel like the Republicans right now, and if you want to call them the MAGA Republicans, that's fine because I know this doesn't apply to every Republican I know. But like, there's a lot of sane washing that happens with Trump, where if we paint it as if there's reasonable disagreement between um, whether or not the Democrats or the Trump-led Republicans can govern more effectively, then we've incredibly sane washed the Republicans and we're being incredibly biased towards the Republicans. I feel like the answer as to who is going to be better for the American people is an incredible no-brainer towards Kamala Harris. I feel like there's no world where Donald Trump was the better option than Kamala Harris, at least in affecting change. And I feel like whenever we come out and you know, we hedge so much in regard to classifying Donald Trump as he is or coming out and publicly disowning Donald Trump, I feel like we're being incredibly I feel like we're being unfair. I genuinely do. Um because to paint somebody like Donald Trump as like, oh well, I kind of disagree with him on some stuff, like I don't think he would have been that great. I still probably would have voted against Kamala Harris. I feel like you're doing incredible favors to Donald Trump. And I feel like viewing Donald Trump as anything other than something that needs to be stopped, not at all costs. Like I don't believe in violence. But like you probably could have put a baked potato up against him and I would have voted for the baked potato at this point. Like I don't see a world where there's a more credible and real threat than Donald Trump. And if you were to make a movie in 2008 and you were to make the main antagonist Donald Trump and you were to do one-to-one like one-to-one have him do one-to-one actions as what Donald Trump is doing right now, the movie would be critically panned for being too on the nose. And we're living in that reality right now. And I think that's really insane.
Well, I mean, let's go back to that baked potato thing you talked about. If you
Yeah.
care about effectiveness, um, like if you want effectiveness, let's
Mhm.
say the Save Act, for example. I know a lot. I mean, I think that's what it's called, right? Was it in March where they
Which one?
passed the
Which one are you talking about?
you had to show ID to vote in elections. I mean, I know a lot of
Yeah.
Democrats personally who
Mhm.
really, really like that bill, and they agree with it. They love it. That's what also draws me away from the Democratic Party and Kamala Harris. Why not show ID to vote?
So
Like
the Save Act never even passed, did it?
I thought it did. I thought it passed in the Senate. Why would it? I don't know why it wouldn't.
No, I don't believe it. I don't think the Save Act passed. I think I thought there was a lot of
Really?
controversy for it not passing.
I believe it did pass. I thought it passed in like March of this year.
Proposed. I maybe I'm missing something, but I mean, when you Google the Save Act, it just says proposed in the House.
Let me just check it out real quick.
But okay, so regardless, the reason that I would say that I would rather vote for a baked potato is because I know that a baked potato would be net zero. I know for a fact that it wouldn't do any good, and I know for a fact it wouldn't do any bad because it does nothing. Um, Whereas Donald Trump, I could have promised you would have been catastrophic, and I feel like I'm being vindicated day after day after day on how catastrophic a presidency like Donald Trump has been.
Do you think Trump's the worst president ever? Fun little question.
No,
Okay, you're That's good. Yeah, I'm I don't know where I am on Trump. It might sound like I'm a freaking like a political amateur, but I don't know where I am on Trump. I've drifted away from the MAGA
Which is,
stuff.
and this, I get mad at a lot of people in my community because they expect to see dramatic changes in people's opinion after one debate, and I don't expect that. And I don't expect you to, because like, have you been a Republican your whole life?
Um, well, I don't know. You mean my whole life? I've really gotten into politics around the 2020 election.
As long as you've
So
been involved in politics,
yeah,
have you been a Republican?
yeah. Before, and then I started doing more research. Started to get a
Mhm.
little bit more libertarian, but yeah, I've been Republican.
So to expect somebody to immediately jump off of that train is ridiculous, right? Like you've been on that train for 5 years. No one's going to immediately change their entire worldview in a day. So I wouldn't expect
Yeah.
that of anybody.
Also,
Um,
like I think why people think why you should change your worldview after one debate. I think you can lose a debate and still be in the right. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
yeah. So I don't think just because like you get dog walked in a debate. I mean, I got
hmm
dog walked by you in a debate, but I mean,
I
I'm
don't
not
even
gonna
think
sit
that
here and
was.
say,
I'd
you
barely
know
even
what,
call that a debate, but yeah,
you know, if your community wants to hear it, once you beat me, I turn into a communist, and I
true,
absolutely love Marxism. So,
true.
if that's what they expect, I'll say it.
Pushed you
But
too
no.
far. You're you
Yeah, you
haven't
pushed me
agreeing with
too
me
far, and
anymore.
now, yeah, now I'm on the political horseshoe. I was right here. Now I'm all the way
Yeah.
over here. Yeah, but
So okay,
I don't know.
that's why what I would like to do. This was all just leading up to the actual thing that I wanted to do. I just want to walk you through a couple of the really damning things that Trump has done, like in a lot of detail. I've written articles about both of these, fully cited and everything. I just want to walk you through some of these things, and I want to see like I view these as silver bullet issues, right? I want to see how they're not. Like I genuinely want to see like how somebody who is more sympathetic to the Republicans than the Democrats naturally reacts to like full detail explanations of these things.
Well,
You want
give it to
you
me,
want to
dude.
do
Just
it?
show it to me.
Okay.
Go ahead. I mean, I'm here.
Let's do it. I don't know how much time you have though. That's the
No,
main
that's
thing.
fine. I'm good.
Okay. I'll
Just
screen share
show me a
this.
few. Let's do it.
I'll screen share this. Okay, you should be able to see the screen.
Stream. I'm barely on Discord, so. Oh
Okay.
no, this article.
This article and this
I
article.
swear. Oh my gosh, I swear I've seen this before.
Yeah, so I saw one of the people in your server posted it, and I don't think they knew I wrote it. But
Yeah, I don't know. Listen, my server's dead, dude. I don't know. I'm burnt out.
that's okay. So we can go through either
So
of these. I think
January 6th, listen, I think January 6th is here's my thoughts on J6.
yeah.
When I go on stream a lot, or I used to go on stream a lot, and I would always hear Trump did J6, Trump
hmm
J6, Trump J6. I'm not even gonna sit here and defend Trump on J6 because that
hmm
was just bad. That was a bad thing
Yeah.
to do. He shouldn't have done that. I think he truly did think he lost the election and Trump's a sore loser.
hmm
Whatever. I think Mike Pence did the right thing. But however, I do think that 77 million Americans said they didn't care. You know,
So okay. Can you
like the
This is why I want to
majority.
do
He won
this.
the popular vote. He won the popular vote.
Can you tell me what happened? Like what do you think the worst part about January 6th was?
Sending fake electors to try to overturn it, and then he absolutely turned his back on Mike Pence just for upholding the Constitution.
So, okay. Partially. So like if I could demonstrate to you that Donald Trump was knowingly lying about election fraud, and when
I
that
don't know
didn't,
about that.
he was
I don't think so. I
well.
think
Let's
Trump
let let
genuinely
me
thought he
let
won.
me build the case so that we could disagree later. But
Okay.
I want to give the full case that I think. Okay, so if I
Okay.
could demonstrate to you that Donald Trump was knowingly lying about claims of election fraud in order to get the American people and the state legislatures to distrust the election, and whenever he couldn't pressure the state legislators, he ended up trying to pressure the DOJ to basically lie to the state legislators about finding election fraud. And when that didn't work, he tried to submit alternate slates of electors or fake slates of electors. And then he pressured the vice president to violate the federal law on that day to not to bypass Congress, not have them have a say on it at all, and just unilaterally choose Donald Trump to be the winner of the election. And when Mike Pence refused to go through with it, um, I'm agnostic onto whether or not Donald Trump directly incited the Capitol riot. But once the riot started, he was using the violence at the Capitol to leverage as pressure against the Congress people and Mike Pence. If I could prove all of that to you, and then
I
immediately
mean, yeah, I know
after, I
that.
mean,
You
like
don't
this
have to
is,
prove that to me. I already know. You're right. Like that's just true. But
you agree with
I think
every step that I just laid out.
I agree that Trump did all that, but I think that well, I mean, yeah, he did all that's facts. But I I think we might disagree on thinking Trump thinks he lost the election. I think Trump genuinely thinks he won the election. Like,
Okay.
um,
So
I
if you
guess
were
the
to
2020 election was kind of weird though. I'm not a big. I hate the stolen election thing.
mhm.
But I think it also is kind of weird. I mean, how long did that election last? Like until they called Joe Biden a winner?
Didn't they call him the winner on like the night after?
I think it was like 2, 3 days.
Maybe until all the votes were finished counting, but or
It,
like
it
the preliminary
it was
counting. But I'm pretty sure the
skeptical.
election was called night of or the night after.
I don't know exactly when it was called, but I think that it kind of looked weird at the time. I think Trump thought he lost, won. I think he absolutely thinks he won. I still
No,
think he
wait,
thought
yeah,
he
it
won.
was definitely called. It was definitely called on the night of because the speech that Trump gave coming out and basically saying we won the election before all of the votes were counted, was in response to I think Joe Biden securing enough electors in order to win the president. I think he came out and gave that speech like a little before he was called as president.
I don't
Um,
know when exactly that was. I just remember being like a 14-year-old kid and just chilling. And then, I went outside, walked inside. It's like 2, 3 days after, and my dad's like, "Oh, if they win Pennsylvania, it's over." But
but
I
like
don't know exactly when. I'm
if
just trying to remember from like my brain.
yeah,
I thought it looked a little bit weird.
if
Um,
we were to grant like my entire characterization that he was lying, that he knew he lost the election, that he was lying to the people about it, he was lying to the states about it, he was pressuring the DOJ to lie to the states about it, he was pressuring his vice president to steal the election for him. Like if we were to grant all of this framing, I don't understand how this is not disqualifying. Like we see so many cracks in the foundation of what is Donald Trump. Like he comes out against weaponization of the Justice Department after weaponizing the Justice Department. We see him like knowingly using propaganda and false statements in order to like manufacture outrage amongst the people that feels incredibly scary. Like an incredibly scary trait for the president to have, or like inciting violence against people to use it as leverage um in election decertification. Like that feels like a giant, like that feels like super scary qualities for the president to be willing to do, and he successfully did all of it. Like the Republicans still majority think that the 2020 election was stolen. He successfully did every single step of this except for the DOJ part and except for the Mike Pence part.
well, yeah,
um
I think that if he genuinely thought he lost, then that'd be bad. But I mean,
well, not only that, like do you think it
I know
would
you hate
be
giving sympathy to Donald Trump, but
yeah.
if I was the president, right? I'm the president of the United States.
Hmm.
Whatever. I go into this election 2020, COVID's big, everyone's crazy, big chaos.
Hmm.
And then, you go into it and you lose the election and you thought you really won. Dude,
Yeah,
I'd be pissed. I'd be
sure.
pissed.
And I've said
But
this
that's why
to
I think he genuinely thinks he won. If you go ask Trump right now, I think he would genuinely say,
I've
"Yes,
said
I
this to
won
a
the
handful of
2020."
people where like if the election really truly was stolen, January 6th would have a very strong argument for justification. I think you could
But I don't
justify
think it was
January
stolen.
6th if the election was stolen. So if
Well, yeah,
Donald
that's what
Trump
I don't think it was stolen.
so if
Yeah.
Donald Trump thought the election was stolen and he incited January 6th, I don't even know how big of a I mean like I would still have a problem with the electors plot because that's like you can't get more anti-democracy than that. But I mean, like democracy would have already been eroded because the election was stolen. So like, if he thought that the election was stolen, I would be more sympathetic to him. But I don't think there's a world where he did. Um, and I can walk you through. I can walk you through why I believe that because I have it all. Like I have, you can see all of the subcategories I have for this article. I have a lot of shit here.
Well, we can sit here and say that, but then at the end of the day, I mean, I
I just
think Trump is just so stubborn that he just thinks he won.
so I
He just
guess
thinks he
I
won.
so before we get into the details though, I'm just looking for like a like if this were to be true, like my framing of it that he knew he lost and he was lying about it. Do you think that would be something that would be like disqualifying in regard to him versus Kamala Harris?
Um, I definitely would have voted for Kamala Harris still, but I would say I wouldn't have voted for Trump if I thought he lost, and he still all did this thing knowingly knowing he lost.
Okay. So now we're going to look at it. We're going to look at this part. Okay. So this is the section that I have about
Oh,
knowingly lying about election fraud. Okay.
just for me, right? Oh my gosh.
Not just for you. This has been public
Oh,
for a
yeah.
while, but the
Also,
main
what, real quick,
yeah,
side note, what is this site? I mean, I need to check this out.
this is Substack. You could just post
I
articles
might
basically.
I might need to check it out.
It's
I might need to
awesome.
check it
Yeah,
out.
Substack is
This looks
awesome.
pretty cool. Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on,
So,
give me 1 second real quick. I'm getting a call real quick.
yep, you're good. You're good. Also, I don't know if anybody is yelling at me for not being aggressive enough or whatever. This isn't we're not doing like a hardcore debate. The point of this is not aggression.
Yeah, hang on. Let me go let my dog in. My dog is outside. My bad. Let me do that.
It's all good. It's all good. Um, I'm loving someone who is genuinely curious. Yeah, that's why I scheduled this talk with Bentley, is because I think he is genuinely he's genuinely interested in what's right. I think he just falls victim to the what's the destiny thing, the media sphere. Love to see an honest conversation. Yeah, I love Bentley. I think I said at the beginning of the conversation, like the reason that I reached out for him to do it was that
All right, my bad.
was I think he's a good faith interactor. Okay,
All right, let's do it.
let's do it. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through why I think Donald Trump was lying. All right, and at the end we'll see where we're at. Okay.
All right, cool.
Okay, so the first thing that I think substantiates him lying is the election fraud whack-a-mole strategy that he was doing. So the Trump campaign continuously took the strategy of throwing so many ever-changing claims of fraud that they couldn't possibly be addressed. So what they would do is they would throw out a particular allegation of, say, 36,000 non-citizens voting in the 2020 election. And then in a different hearing, they would say 250,000. And then another hearing, they would say 32,000. None of these numbers are linked to anything. None of them are like findable in any sort of data or anything. All of them are contradicted by the states, but they would constantly be throwing out different numbers that could never be fact checked because they would never cite their sources and it would change day by day. So if you had genuine evidence of fraud, you wouldn't need to continuously change the claim in order to make it stronger or weaker depending on who you're talking to.
Well, I do want to say, I think, what I mean by I don't think Trump thinks he lost. I think Trump lost, and I genuinely think that.
Yeah,
I think Trump, you throw as much evidence as you want. I'm saying I think Trump is so stubborn that he doesn't think he lost, like with
sure. And
undeniable proof.
what
That's what
what
I'm
I'm
trying to say.
yeah, I yeah. So yeah, I know that we're saying that he did lose, but he doesn't think he lost. I'm saying that what I'm showing you, I think speaks to Donald Trump knowing that he lost. So if the
I
Trump
don't think so.
administration is if the it all has to be taken in context of each other. But if the Trump administration is making claims that are ever changing, that implies that they aren't even going up based off of evidence, right? So like if
Can you
one
repeat
day I'm
that?
saying 200,000 and then the next day I'm saying 25,000 and then the next day I'm saying 32 and then the next day I'm saying 32,000, it implies that we're not actually basing this off of anything, right? We're just
Yeah,
we're
no,
trying to
yeah,
persuade.
absolutely. Trump didn't base it off of nothing.
Okay.
He
That's
did
that's all
he
that part
had
was
no
supposed to
proof.
prove.
Right, he has no proof. Okay, we're saying okay, let's
But
say it's 2020 right now.
it's not
It's
only
November 2020.
yeah.
He lost.
Mhm.
I just I don't even know how to explain it.
But it's not only so the thing that that's supposed to point out is it's not even that they're going based off of bad proof. Like it's not like they read a report but the report was flawed. It's that they weren't reading anything. They were making it up.
Sure. I mean,
Okay.
I think you can make up something and still think that you're in the right. Maybe I
Sure,
don't know how to
this is
exactly.
just one puzzle
Yeah,
piece. This
yeah.
is just one puzzle piece.
Okay, let's
Okay.
do it more.
So the next puzzle piece is that Donald Trump made the same exact claims of fraud in 2016 before he won the election. He was saying on October 1st, 2016, in a Fox News interview, that the Republican primaries would be rigged against him through the voting machines in favor of Ted Cruz. On the 18th, he said they were rigging the polling booths. And on November 27th, he claimed that he actually won the popular vote because of how many people voted illegally. He said that he said that he basically claimed that 3 million people voted illegally, so he actually won the popular vote too.
Well, I
So
mean, to be honest with you, I don't. I think you could probably make an argument that some people could have voted illegally.
sure, but
Maybe
3
not in that
million,
election specific. 3 million. That's a bit crazy,
3
but
million in
again, it goes back
2016.
to the you don't have to show ID to vote. I don't know what exact it was in 2016, but I do know in 2024. I live in Alabama, right?
Mm-hmm.
I probably could have went to California and voted. Just walked in, voted, whatever.
Sure, but I mean, whenever those elections get audited, if it's shown that you voted in multiple places, then your votes aren't going to be counted.
Well, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I mean, that does open a lot of spots for illegal immigrants just voting once.
Sure, but these are the illegal immigrants. If they're not registered, their vote won't count either. If you're not registered and you vote, your vote doesn't get counted. These are like verified votes that we have. Like these vote counts
All right, got it.
that we see are verified. So he's
Yeah, I mean,
saying
look,
that
we see this, 2016.
Mhm.
Let's see, 2016, Trump playing Republican primaries to Ted Cruz.
Mhm.
2016, 28.
So this is an even
Trump,
stronger claim too, because if
this
he's
shows that. Well, this goes to show that Trump is just gonna say he won, because he
Mhm.
thinks he wins everything. I think
Sure,
Trump
yeah.
thinks he wins everything. It's all
Mhm.
about the win, right? It's all about the
Okay.
win.
So
I don't think this shows how Trump thought he like really truly lost. So we don't live in the brain of Donald Trump.
sure, and again, this is a puzzle piece. So like just because I left a sock at a house, that doesn't mean I'm a murderer. But if there was a dead body in the house and my DNA was on a knife and I had probable cause to do it, then that proves murder. But me being at a house at a particular time doesn't necessarily prove the murder, right? We have to build the puzzle pieces in order to make the claim. So what I tried to show here is that they're not getting their information from bad reporting. They're getting their information from their imaginations through the whack-a-mole thing. What I'm trying to
Yeah.
show here is that Trump's claims were obviously bad faith because he made them about every other election. And he also made the same claim in 2024 before he won about Philadelphia being stolen. I don't have this in the doc, but that's a pretty famous example. Everybody pointed that out at the time. So that's all I'm proving
That's
here
true.
is that Donald Trump
Okay,
is
okay.
a bullshitter, basically. He's going to make very similar sounding claims in bad faith and then kind of walk back on them whenever he wins. Or just not bring them back up.
Yes. No, I mean, Trump's just I don't know.
Okay.
Again, I don't know why it is. I just think that Trump is just so. I know I'm gonna say this a lot, and I sound
Mhm.
like stupid, but
You don't sound stupid.
he's
He's
such a
this is
stubborn dude.
if you
I'm a Republican. Trump is I voted for the guy. Trump's such a stubborn dude. You throw every single evidence in his face. He thinks he's the best, right? He's the best to ever do it. He's the best president ever. He's better than Abraham Lincoln and George Washington, according
we'll
to
get more
Donald Trump,
we'll
right?
get more damning claims. Trust. We'll get more damning claims.
He thinks he's the best. He thinks he can't lose. So I mean, if you have someone who's thinking like that, like they're the best, I'm the best, nobody's better than me, then how do you think you lose?
We'll get there.
Do
We'll
you
get
think
there. I
Trump? Do
promise
you
you.
think Trump genuinely? Do you think
Yes,
Trump
I think
genuinely
Donald
thinks
Trump
he's
was
the best
knowingly
president?
lying. I think Donald Trump knew that he lost the election.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, do you think Trump thinks that he's genuinely the best president ever? Like in
Oh
Donald
yeah,
Trump's mind,
yeah. I think he's an incredible
like he
egoist.
thinks of
Yeah,
himself. You're right. So right. So if you have someone with that big of an ego and they lose something, a lot of the times, from what I've seen, they just think they just don't lose. They didn't lose it. It has to be something wrong.
sure. But here I'm saying I think he does know that he lost, or at least all of the people involved in his campaign knew that he lost.
I'm
I
not
would
talking
say
about
that
the
he
people in
does
his
as well.
campaign.
Yeah, but I'm
I
saying
think the
I would
people in
say
his
that he does
campaign.
as I would say that he does as well. But I mean, at the very least, like, if we can both agree that the people within his campaign also knew, then that's fine. But I
Sure, yeah,
mean,
I'll agree with that. The
I
people
would
in his
say that he also
campaign,
did. Like, all of this is going to speak toward him knowing as well.
I just don't think we're really getting anywhere because I don't think we're going to agree on it.
We will. Well, we're building the puzzle, Bentley. We're building the puzzle. Okay.
Dude,
I just showed you
that's
like two of the weaker points. All right. It's going to get more
oh,
damning. I
okay.
promise you.
All
I'm
right, let's
showing
do
you
it
all of the
more.
points though. All right, because we're not
That's
just
speed.
using
That's
the.
speed.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
So in 2017, after the 2016 election, he created the Presidential Advisory Commission on Election Integrity, known as the Voter Fraud Commission, made up of Republicans and Democrats. Kansas Secretary of State Chris Kobach, on behalf of the Voter Fraud Commission, in conjunction with the DOJ, requests an unusually invasive amount of private voter data from the states, but all 50 states refused to comply. Secretary of Secretary of State from Maine, Matthew Dunlap, a Democratic member of the Voter Fraud Commission, said that Kobach was refusing to share working documents and scheduling information with him and the other Democrats on the commission. This is unresolved until November 9th, 2017, when Matthew Dunlap sues the Presidential Advisory Commission on election integrity due to having information withheld from him and the other Democrat members. A month later, a federal judge orders the commission to turn over the documents and allow Dunlap to participate in the commission activity. But just before they can hand over the documents, Donald Trump dissolves the Presidential Advisory Commission on Election Integrity and argues the termination of the commission means that Dunlap no longer has the right to access the commission's documents. So what this shows is that Donald Trump is not interested about actually coming to reasonable conclusions about election information, because right as soon as it was forced that he would be able to, or that he would be forced to loop Democrats into the information that they have regarding election fraud, he dissolved the committee before the Democrats could get their hands on any of the information. Right? So that speaks towards him, again, making bullshit claims or being dishonest with data. We can agree on that, right?
Sure, yeah, I think Trump is dishonest.
Okay.
With that, he was spiraling, dude. He's the ego man.
Well, this was in 2017, so this was during his
I
first
know
term.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
but like,
Okay.
if we're talking about strictly about 2020,
We'll get there.
he,
We'll
he
get there.
thought
We'll get there, Bentley.
he
I
thought he
promise.
won. He thought he won because
We'll get
he's the
there. We'll
best.
get there.
Supreme Leader Donald Trump. Yes.
So Donald Trump claimed before the election happened that it was impossible for him to legitimately lose. He says the United States cannot have all mail-in ballots. It will be the greatest rigged election in history. People grab them from mailboxes, print thousands of forgeries, and force people to sign. Also, forged names. Some absentee okay when necessary, trying to use COVID for the scam. He would go on to say on July 17th, when asked if he would accept the election results, he said, "We'll have to see." And on August 2nd, 2020, he says there's no way you can go through a mail in vote without massive cheating. And then on August 18th, he says that he should get a redo of the last 4 years and that he can only lose the election if it's rigged. So this is him already before any vote counting happens, period, undermining the result of the election necessarily. So he's
Right, so
leaving himself
wouldn't that
wiggle
just go to
room
my
if he,
point?
huh?
Wouldn't that just kind of go to my point? That just shows that he thinks he's the best. He thinks it's going to be rigged, and then if he loses, right, and he loses,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that just helps my point, man.
Well, if you're
He
leaving yourself
loses,
wiggle
and
room
then he's like,
if you're leaving yourself
and he
wiggle room
loses.
to undermine the result if you lose, do you think that speaks to him lying?
No, I don't. I just think that's him thinking he's the best.
So, well, I'll only accept the result if I win, and if I lose, it's probably rigged, even though the
That's what a
voting
lot.
hadn't
That's what a lot of.
happened.
I know a lot of. I know. It says honestly, to be honest with you,
Mhm.
I'm not proud of this. Why I get this right now? Why I think because I used to be like this too.
Uh-huh.
I used to be like a big, if I lose, there's something that has to be wrong because I'm the best, right?
Sure, but I
So
mean, not to talk down, but like, how old were you when you did this?
I was a little kid, all right,
Right. So
but
like,
it would be like in sports, but whatever.
this is like a
Anyways,
70-year-old, right? Like this
hey,
is
hey,
different.
it is what it's Donald Trump. We know who Donald Trump is, and I think him saying that, saying, "Oh yeah, well if I lose, it's gonna be rigged." I mean, mail-in ballots, whatever. I mean, you can say what you want about him, and then if you go lose, then yeah, I think he absolutely thinks it's rigged.
Okay. So on October 31st, 2020, President Trump's advisor, Steve Bannon, basically says exactly what he's going to do, supposing that he loses. So he said, what Trump is going to do is he's going to declare victory. He's going to declare victory, but that doesn't mean he's the winner. He's just going to say he's a winner. The Democrats, more of our people vote early that count. Their vote, uh, their vote in mail. I assume that's supposed to say they. And so they're going to have a natural disadvantage. And here, Trump is going to take advantage of it. That's our strategy. He's going to declare himself the winner. So when you wake up Wednesday morning, it's going to be a firestorm. Also, if Trump is losing by 10 or 11 o'clock at night, it's going to be even crazier. No, because he's going to sit there and say, they stole it. I'm directing the attorney general to shut down all ballot places in 50 states. It's going to be, no, he's going to get out easy. If Biden's winning, Trump is going to do some crazy shit. So that's one of his close personal confidants coming out and saying that he's not going to win. He's just going to come out and say that he won. Right? So do you think that speaks to him lying?
Possibly, it
Okay.
could.
That's a puzzle piece, right?
I don't know. What were they in a fight at the time? I know Steve Bannon and Trump didn't fights at times.
I think at the time Steve Bannon was still an advisor to the president.
Okay, because they had a lot of fights, especially during his first term. That's
Trump
what I
has a
remember.
lot of fights with everybody, but I'm pretty sure he
Yeah.
was a part of the campaign at this point.
All right, whatever.
Roger Stone, also a political confidant, told several associates just prior to the election that Trump needed to declare victory, especially if the race wasn't called on election day. So that also just speaks to there was previous conversations going on within Trump's circles about how Trump needed to come out and declare victory, even if the votes hadn't stopped and if it's looking like Joe Biden is going to win. Okay. On November 11th, 2020, at 11:20 p.m., Fox News calls Arizona in favor of Joe Biden. Trump, this is according to the Jack Smith prosecution probe, Trump was shocked and angered by this call. He's advised by his advisors to show restraint while the counting continued. However, Boris Epstein and Rudy Giuliani advised him to just declare victory. Privately, Trump allegedly told advisors and Mark Short that he would simply declare victory before all the ballots were counted and that before any winner was projected because he was being told that overtime ballots would skew Democrat. So he's explicitly saying that I'm going to declare victory before all the votes are counted because the more votes are counted, the more they're going to skew towards Democrats. Okay. On December 29th, 2020, when pressuring Mike Pence to decertify electors, Trump told Pence that the Justice Department was finding major infractions, despite the fact that the Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General had told Trump and Jeffrey Clark that they had found no evidence or they know of nothing that would support the statement, we have identified significant concerns that may have impacted the outcome of the election in multiple states. So he was explicitly told by the AG and the Deputy AG that there was not major infractions or that the Department of Justice had not found any, but he told Mike Pence that they were finding them anyway. So do you believe that speaks towards Donald Trump lying?
I mean, you can make an argument for it, but I still think that Trump. I think you can be told things and still believe it.
Sure, but if you're
I mean,
making
yeah,
a statement directly about like DOJ intelligence saying that the DOJ found this thing, even though the DOJ told you that they hadn't, I mean, like that's like a textbook lie, right?
well, yeah, you can. Yeah, well, I'm not saying that he wasn't lying about finding evidence. I'm saying that he wasn't lying about thinking that he won.
Sure, but I
Like,
mean, if
I
you're
agreed with you earlier. I said that I think Trump has no evidence. I think he was just spewing fake and false evidence to maybe even push the people to believe him.
sure,
And a lot of his MAGA base did. But I
well,
mean,
if you're pushing evidence that you know is false to a group of people, Is that not in essence lying?
Well, it's lying about having evidence. I wouldn't say it's lying about thinking you won something.
Sure. So if he's knowingly pushing false information in order to support the statement the election was stolen from me, and he's knowingly lying in furtherance of that goal of letting people know that goal, I would still say that the characterization of Donald Trump knowingly lying about election fraud to the people is fair. That's an accurate characterization.
I think yeah, you can lie about the fraud and lie about the it's you can lie about the evidence, but you can still think the claim is true.
Sure, but if you're lying about the evidence the whole time and you're knowingly lying about the like not only you're just wrong, like you are lying. You know it's incorrect, but you're going to say it anyway. I it's again, it's like the if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, then it's a duck, you know, like
Well, also
if
like maybe I'm not even gonna. I'm just putting out maybe possible things that could have happened.
mhm.
Maybe Trump's advisors were telling him that they were finding things to like cool him down or whatever. I mean, I'm not. I mean, that's a possibility at the same time because I mean, I
Possibly,
think that
but in regard to the Justice Department specifically finding anything, there's nobody who would be more qualified to speak on the intelligence of the Justice Department than the Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General.
sure. I think he lied about the evidence.
Sure.
I don't think
Okay.
he lies about him thinking he winning. He's winning. So again, it's like you can throw all the evidence in his face, and he's still gonna think and genuine that he won
Well, not only
because
that, so I guess if he was, we could even maybe grant that he didn't know that he lost. But if he was knowingly lying to the people, both within his campaign and the American people, knowingly lying, showing knowingly false information to the American people in order to decertify the election, I would still say that that's characteristically the same. Even if you feel like the election was stolen, if you're lying in order to justify it, I think it's effectively the same.
I don't think so. I think that lying, knowingly knowing that you actually lost the election would be worse. Because again, you'd be saying that,
Um,
saying, "Oh well, the people's wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. I'm the president of the United States." But saying, "Oh well, yeah, deep down, well, yeah, I lost the election. I really lost it." I think that's worse than saying, "Well, here's the evidence. I'm president." Maybe I mean he didn't have evidence at the time. I think Trump just thought
well,
he
not
won.
only here's the evidence, but here's false evidence. Here's
Yeah,
evidence
here's the fake evidence. Yeah,
that I
right,
know is incorrect. Here's falsified
right.
evidence.
Well,
So it's
also
almost
again,
like it's
let's
almost
also
like
keep in mind.
go ahead, go ahead.
Well, let's also keep in mind maybe his advisors were telling him things. Maybe some people close to him were telling him things like, "Yo, this is what's going on. This is happening." I mean, maybe he was watching Fox News that night. I don't know. They were going crazy too. But
Sure, but they were also knowingly lying. So I mean like it's more than just Trump, but
well, Fox News is just a bunch of losers. But yeah, whatever.
true.
But anyways, what I'm saying is that maybe I guess I'd say right now Trump could have been spewing fake evidence knowingly knowing it was fake,
Mhm.
probably
Mhm.
80-20. But again, I think it's worse to know you lost an election and then go do fake evidence than thinking you won an election. You think you're better for the American people,
Mhm.
and then you think you want to help the American people, and so you spew fake evidence to do it. It's kind of like
Um
the good guys got to do bad things, you know, to get the greater good. I think that's would be Trump's thought process there. I don't
I
know.
could probably grant that that is a little better. It may be a little better. And also, we're going through the rest of this. All right, I'm building this fucking puzzle, Bentley. I hope you know. Um
Dude,
but yeah, it may be better if you genuinely think that you won the election and you just falsify evidence to prove that to give proof. But I would still say that that's disqualifying. Like if like this is still essentially knowingly lying to the American people to heat them up in order to decertify the election. I would say
yeah,
that
but we could say
that's
that, but you're just would be subjective at the same time. So
it's this yeah sure it's a subjective what is disqualifying and what isn't, but I would say that like I don't I can't believe that anyone would find that not disqualifying to like to
well, I mean,
knowingly lie to the American
77
people.
million people, 77 million people thought it wasn't disqualifying. I don't
Sure,
know.
but 77 million people don't know what an elector is. Like I could almost promise you that the majority of the voting base
77
doesn't know what an
million?
I could almost assure you that the majority of the voting base doesn't know anything about the electoral counting procedure, doesn't know anything about Jack Smith. Like, I mean, this is anecdotal, but like the majority of Republicans that I talk to don't even know that, like, what he was indicted for. Most other people don't even know he was indicted for January 6th. I've talked to a bunch of people who thinks that he was impeached 3 times. I there's a lot. People are really fucking stupid. Okay, like that's kind of what it comes
I don't
down
know who
to.
you're
That
talking to. I don't know. Maybe my
talking to a
family's just
lot of
smarter on
people.
politics. I don't
That's
know.
possible. And like I'm
Yeah.
also not saying that like every fucking voter is like a drooling idiot or whatever, but like I could almost promise you, if you were to ask the median Republican voter, hey, what happened on January 6th, they would say that the FBI staged an insurrection and set up a bunch of Trump supporters, and then those Trump supporters were arrested for being led through the building by the Capitol Police, and Donald Trump told them all to go home, and he provided the National Guard, and that's all they would know about it, and they wouldn't know
I
anything
don't know
about the
about that.
electors.
I don't know, but maybe you have to point on the electors part, sure, because I don't think the average American, I don't think just the average American, not even average Republican knows what an elector is.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I would say that I've talked to a lot of Republicans,
Mm-hmm.
and what I've heard is that January 6th is bad. My grandma is a big, she loves politics, dude.
Mm-hmm.
But she's a MAGA, right?
Yeah.
Whatever. She she thinks Trump was wronged on Jason. She thinks Mike Pence is here. She
Mm-hmm.
thinks Mike Pence did the right thing. She still supports Trump. I don't know where I'm going with this, but like
If you're so
I'm
the
saying that I think people think Trump can do wrong, but then say, "Yo, it's the past. He might be the better option than Kamala Harris."
I think we're
By
both
I guess
I think we're both subject to selection bias here, because I can tell by the way that you conduct yourself that you probably were brought up by politically aware people, by non-radical people, and by like it seems like pretty smart people. Um that's not the norm. I can almost promise you, and I can almost promise you that you're smarter than the median voter.
oh yeah,
It's like
absolutely, absolutely. Oh
significantly
yeah,
smarter.
during the 2020 election, I was like what 14, yeah,
Yeah.
14, 15, and even like 2022.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, all my MAGA buddies, all of them.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely,
And I
big
would say
big
that
elections.
I'm also probably subject to selection bias, because a lot of the a lot of the conceptions that I'm speaking to right now are people that I've talked to on TikTok, and it's like, that's not the median voter. We all know that that's not. They're
Yeah,
all fucking crazy. Like, you
that's
have to be a certain level of crazy to go online and talk about politics, right? You have to be like a certain level of crazy to be willing to go on and argue or yell with people
dude. I don't know
online.
who you're getting. I don't know who you're getting. I get all the smart Democrats that like to come in my life, and then I'll like lose some of them.
I
Dude, I want. You know what I want? Off topic. I
Mhm.
want to go on a live, talk about abortion, and get like the Dean Withers 18-year-old girls who just listen to Dean Withers all day and say, "My body, my choice." I would love that.
I'll tell
I
you
don't know who
what,
you're getting on.
the the dumbest Democrat is probably about as smart as the median Republican. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's
I don't know.
probably true.
I think if you're talking about, it depends like what you're talking about. Smart IQ wise. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
true that more Democrats would go to college. I think that's just because more Democrats trust the establishment more than like the
Hmm.
Republican. Like my dad, um, dude only votes in like the presidential election. He could care less.
Yeah.
He'll vote Republican,
Hmm.
right? Because he's like government is bad, evil government.
Yeah.
Um, but I wouldn't say he doesn't trust the establishment. That's
Hmm.
Republicans. That's the average Republican. They don't trust the
That's
establishment.
the
I wouldn't
Republican
say
now. That's the
yeah,
average Republican now.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't say he's dumb though. I wouldn't say he's like dumb at the same
I
time.
don't know your dad. I can't speak to your
Well,
dad.
yeah, we're obviously
Yeah.
I don't like expect you to say, "Oh, trust me, bro,"
Yeah.
but like it's whatever.
Listen, I'll debate your dad though. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I don't think he'd be down to it. My dad would just
I
be
know.
like,
I'm
"Yeah,
joking. I'm joking. I'm joking.
my dad's too nonchalant, bro." I don't.
Yeah. Um.
Yeah, my dad.
Fuck, I forgot.
Well, also my
Oh
dad's like
yeah.
the type of guy to be like, "Whoever wins, I'm gonna wake up and go to work tomorrow morning." And I'm
Sure.
like,
Yeah.
"Dude,
Right.
what?"
But
Yeah.
the reason that I brought this up is that, like, sure, the majority of people voted for Donald Trump, but I don't think it was because they had all this information and they did it in spite of it. I think it's because they don't know this information. This is not widely accessible or widely known information.
I think they get this information. Trump still wins.
No, I don't think so.
Well, a lot of people were very, very, very didn't like Democrats on the border. I think they kind of to a to me, especially to a young generation of like a man. I'm 19
Hmm.
years old, right? They're kind of like the Democratic Party just kind of pushes young men away.
Hmm.
I
Yeah, I
feel
agree.
like
And to be
they
clear,
push young men
I'm
away.
in no way am I saying that the Democrats are perfect. All right, I'm not even saying that Kamala Harris was a particularly strong candidate or that I think she ran a bad campaign. Now, granted, I think it was probably bad right off the get go because you're associated with Joe Biden. You have to break the tie between you and Joe Biden to break the tie between you and inflation, which she didn't do. And she had like what was it, 4 months?
107 days.
Yeah.
Well, then
So it
also
was
at
an
the same
incredibly
time,
short campaign.
yeah. At the same time, then you also have to say, well, I agree with Joe Biden here, because then you might get the more to the left Democrats away from it. I don't know.
Sure, yeah. So, but that's what I'm
You have to
saying
do
is that
that.
like obviously, I'm not saying she had a perfect campaign or anything, but I'm saying that if we were to presuppose that somebody has all of the information that is publicly available on Donald Trump, and somebody had all of the information that is publicly available on Kamala Harris, and you were to ask them who they want to be the president, I think if you had a group of 100 of them, all 100 of them would have picked Kamala Harris.
That's crazy to say. That's
I genuinely
no
believe
ball
that.
knowledge, dude. That's no way you believe. Okay,
I genuinely
okay,
believe that.
also you have to go more in detail. Where do you get the people from? What kind of people are there? What jobs do they work? What's their
We
family?
are assuming that these are like they're blank slate people. The only thing they know is all of the information on. We'll say they know how the American government works. They know all of the information on Kamala Harris. They know all of the information on Donald Trump that's publicly available.
Not one out of the 100.
I don't think a single one would vote for Donald Trump.
I don't know. I can't believe that.
Mainly because I mean, like, I can't think of a thing that is worse or that Kamala Harris did or even would have done, even if we grant the gun buyback thing. I don't think that holds remotely a candle to even the Alien Enemies Act stuff, let alone the National Guard deployment or the January 6th stuff.
I mean, I think the mandatory gun bad stuff is pretty bad.
I
That's
agree it's
pretty
pretty
bad.
bad, but I don't think it's even close to as bad as this. Like a plot to knowingly lie to the people to steal the election, right? That's crazy.
No, I don't know, but I don't say steal because I think that he genuinely thought he won. Like that's where we're meeting at. Like
Sure, but I mean, like, if you go to a store and you genuinely think that that jug of milk is yours and you take it and you leave, you still stole from that
that's
store,
a bit
right?
different. That's a bit different. I think that's a bit different,
How though?
dude. Because Trump is oh my gosh.
Like, let's say that
Trump
this
is
person is so deluded that he genuinely thinks that that jug of milk is his, right? He doesn't
yeah,
believe that it
sure.
belongs
Right,
to the
yeah,
store.
I'm not saying he didn't try to steal it. I'm not saying he didn't try to steal it. I'm saying that he didn't think he was trying to steal it. So it
Sure,
would go back to the person is deluded, right?
but
I mean,
so then the characterization is true that he did knowingly lie to the people and use like purposefully deceptive tactics with the DOJ in order to steal the election. That is what he did. That is like a fully accurate framing. I can't think of anything that is even remotely comparable. I may even go out on the limb and say I can't think of anything that's comparable in modern political history since like 1960 that's even close to that. Like Watergate, doesn't have shit on this.
oh, I don't know about that. Watergate?
Watergate doesn't have shit on this.
Watergate was
Spying on your opponent's campaign has nothing to doesn't even remotely hold a candle to Donald Trump trying to literally throw electoral college votes away in 7 states through the vice president unilaterally. That's like
well, it goes back to intent
that's insane.
because it's better what I said. If you think you're the best for the American people and you think you're the best, and you think you're the best president ever, and then you go and you lose an election, and he's already skeptical about mail-in voting. His advisors are telling him, "Yo, this might be stolen and everything."
Mhm.
So I mean,
Let's say that
you might think you actually won.
let's compare Al Gore to like the way that Al Gore was reacted to the 2000 election and the way that Donald Trump reacted to the 2020 election. Because Al Gore genuinely thought that he won the 2000 election, right? Um, And the Supreme Court basically came down and said that all of the recounts have to stop in order to preserve the ECA's safe harbor date. And what Al Gore did is he was like, fuck, okay.
Well,
And
Al
that's
Gore isn't as much egotistical as
and
I said
that's it.
earlier as Donald Trump is. Yeah,
Right.
Al
But
Gore.
like, even if I was to grant that
It's
he
all
was,
ego.
even if I was to grant that Donald Trump was so egotistical that he's so egotistical that he's like actually like schizophrenically delusional, right? He's seeing visions, right? And he believes that he won the election even though there's no evidence of it, and even though he had to go out of his way to lie and manufacture evidence for it. And he did all of that in furtherance of stealing the election. I don't even know if that materially, like, it does make it better potentially because it doesn't speak to Donald Trump's conscience as much. But like, even if we grant that framing, it's still not even close to Watergate, not even remotely close. Like Watergate is maybe like 20% bad in this case, if January 6th is 95% bad, even with
I
the
just
framing
can't.
that you're going with.
I just can't see that. I can't see that.
I just like it speaks to, I think it speaks to Donald Trump's willingness to um lie to the American people knowingly, to weaponize the federal government, right? And you were there moderating the debate with me and me and Will. So I mean, like, we've already gone down the weaponizing the federal government, right? Like he was
Yeah.
literally making it so, or trying to pressure the attorney general to lie to the states for him in order to, in furtherance of this electors plot. Um, he was weaponizing the federal government. He was like knowingly lying to the American people and to all of these politicians, right? In one case, he literally, once one of the state legislators said that they weren't going to hold a special session in order to decertify the electors, he tweeted out his personal phone number. Like crazy shit like this, right? And
Was that not go to show that he just genuinely thinks he won? He's deluded where he thinks he won.
if he
And he's
is
doing all that.
if he is
Uh,
this
uh,
if he's this delusional,
Personal
he
phone
genuinely
number.
needs to be institutionalized, I think. Like I think he
Trump is
needs
a
to be
bit
put
crazy.
in the loony bin if he's that delusional.
I don't know. I think Trump thought he won, but also I guess where I'm on it is that I think that we're a little bit stuck in the past here. I think that let's let's work for the better. Let's
Sure.
not maybe don't support Trump, but hope he does good. I'm a Christian. I know you're not a
Yeah, I
Christian. That's fine.
obviously hope he does good because he's the leader
Right.
of my country, right? Like,
Right.
like I'm
Well, I
not
mean,
trying to
listen.
get.
I've heard some people who are just they hate him so much, where they like, dude. I've heard people saying they hope he dies.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, it's crazy. But
So I guess the problem that I have with like the being stuck in the past is that I think this speaks to exactly what his mind state is, right? Even if we grant your interpretation, he's so delusional that he could never see anything as a negative, and if it is negative towards him, that it was rigged against him, and that he'll do whatever it takes in order to, feed into this egotistical worldview that he has. Like he's so deluded that he's going to lie to the American people. He's going to weaponize the Department of Justice. He's going to try and uproot our democracy just to have himself be the president again. And we're seeing those same kind of mental traits showing up in this term as well, where he's trying to like federalize the National Guard over the governors, where he's trying to like he has appointees in his DOJ saying maybe we just need to tell the courts to go fuck themselves, and then he appoints that person to a lifetime appointment as a district judge. Like we're seeing these crazy things. We're seeing him come out and lie about fucking acetaminophen causing autism, right? Like we're seeing these
I
patterns.
don't think that was him. I don't think that was him.
It
I
was
think
him and
Harvard's.
RFK. It was him and
Well,
RFK.
Harvard also found something to go with that. I don't have that specifically,
They
but
found a
I would definitely look.
they found a correlation, but it
Well,
wasn't
yeah, I
it.
think they jumped the gun. I'll say Trump and RFK jumped the gun definitely. But if we're seeing, I talked to this one of my like liberal
Mhm.
person the other day. I wouldn't even call it friends. Whatever, doesn't matter. So Harvard finds something. This is what I'm seeing. Okay,
Mhm.
don't bash me.
I'm not gonna
So
bash you.
Harvard sees something, right? They
Mhm.
say, "Yo, this might be happening."
Mhm.
Trump sees that and like, "Yep, don't take Tylenol while you're pregnant." And these liberal women are just downing bottles of Tylenol.
Well,
Just
not
down.
only that, but like,
Maybe let's not do that. Let's not do that.
did you watch the press conference with him and RFK announcing it?
I haven't. I was off social media at that time. I was just taking a big break.
He was this might actually speak more to him being delusional than anything else, because he came out and said, like, explicitly, I know Bobby wants to be very careful with his language, but I'm not so careful with my language. And he came out and said that, like, oh yeah, I know Bobby and the rest of them are going to wait for the studies to come out, but I don't do that. I tell it how it is. It's like holy fuck, dude, you know?
Oh my god.
Like, so I like but again, like, we're
Also,
seeing these like incredibly terrible, like, even if we're granting he's just a delusional egoist, right? Like, incredibly terrible ripples in this guy's brain, and they're still showing up today in the way that he legislates and goes through with being the president. So I think this is like the January 6th stuff is incredibly important to look at because it speaks to his mind state. It speaks to his mind state of my ego is what's number one. It's not the country, it's not the law, it's not the Constitution, it's not anything. It's my ego. It's whatever serves me best. So I think that, and to tie it back to the original thing, I don't think that if that is the mind state of Donald Trump, it's what serves me best versus the mind state of Kamala Harris of, like, genuinely, I think she does what is best for the country. Do you disagree?
um, I think I think they both want what's best for the country, but just in two different worldviews. I think Trump thinks that his way is the best for the country, so him thinking that his way is the best for the country would be him saying, "Well, I want to put the country first because I'm doing this."
Well, I don't think that this speaks to Donald Trump wanting what's best for the country. Like, I don't think that
Well, if
lying,
he's wanting what
like,
he wants,
I don't think that
well, if he wants,
manufacturing evidence in order to, embolden himself and entrench his own power. I don't think that can be viewed as him wanting what's best for the country,
well, him
unless he
manufacturing the
genuinely thinks
evidence,
thinks like
well, him
what's best
him
for him
manufacturing.
is. Go ahead.
Well, if we're saying that he's lying about the evidence so he could get elected because he thought that he lost, we're assuming that, right? I
No, no,
think
no,
that
not
would
that he
still
thought
be
that he
him saying, "I want
lost.
what's best for the country,"
Not that he thought that he
or thought that he
lost.
won. Thought that he won. You're right.
Yeah.
My bad. So he thinks he won the election, but he's knowingly putting false evidence out, or maybe he's being told that this false evidence, and he's just saying it without,
Mhm.
looking into it or whatever. So he's doing this. I still think that's him saying that's what he wants for the country. That's what he thinks best for the country. I mean, any president who has anything would.
Do you think that
I think that would still be
do you think
best
that
for the
like
country if he thinks so.
somebody like Stalin wants what's best for his country? Like, do you think he wanted what's best for the USSR?
Do I think Stalin wants what's best for the USSR?
Like, wanted, sorry, because he's dead. But, like,
Um,
do you think he wanted what was best for the USSR?
Under his communist worldview,
Yeah.
probably, yeah.
Okay. Maybe this is the I think your heart is just too good, Bentley. I think you see too much good in people. Um
I love people, dude. I like to see that.
I don't,
I love talking to people.
I don't think that Donald Trump has this incredibly egocentric view of himself and what role he should play in the country. I don't think he wants to centralize power into himself. I don't think he wants to, like, uproot our democracy for the good of the country. I think he does it for the good of himself. And I think that, if you're talking about expanding all of this, like, autocratic power in yourself, to say that you're doing it for the good of the country, I don't believe it. Way too skeptical of tyranny to think that anybody with tyrannical aims is doing it for the good of the country. I think it's very clearly in the good of his own self-enrichment. And
I mean,
maybe this is the
everyone's
fundamental
ideology.
disagreement.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that everyone's ideology and what they believe is what they think is best, right?
For the
Like what
majority
you
of
believe
people,
is what
no,
you.
I don't think so.
I would think so. I mean, I don't know. I think that if you think something, like for example, you take me, right?
Hmm.
I started a pro-life organization,
Yeah.
like a couple weeks ago.
Hmm.
I think that's what's best for the American people. And
Yes.
if the majority of the country disagrees with that, I would still think that's what's best for the country. And if I went out and put false evidence and everything, like let's say I'm doing that basically.
Sure.
I'm putting out false evidence about Planned Parenthood and all these abortions and how
Hmm.
whatever they're doing, right? And I'm still saying this false evidence. I could still think that's what's best for the country. I'm putting the false evidence out because I want what's best for the country by
You
my
could you
ideology.
could theoretically, I would even say in that case it's not very likely, but that is a theoretical possibility. But
That's what I'm
the
saying happens with Trump, though. That's what I'm saying.
The difference between what you just laid out and what Donald Trump was trying to do is that what you are trying to do, even in that case where you start an organization, you spread propaganda that is false about Planned Parenthood, and that's how you aim to achieve anti-abortion legislation, that is not centralizing power. That's not tyrannical. You have an aim that is not like focused on enriching yourself, and that is what you're trying to pursue. Whereas what Donald Trump is trying to pursue is something that is directly beneficial to him. All like he wants to have unaccountable power. He wants to centralize power into himself. In this case, you don't really have egoistic goals in order to like you don't have egoistic goals to prevent abortion. You don't have egoistic goals to lie about Planned Parenthood. You just want legislation passed. Donald
Well,
Trump
also,
has
what if I
egoistic goals.
changed
He
it?
wants to be in
What if, what if,
power.
what if I changed it to let me change my scenario. So,
Yeah.
what if I changed it to I want to be known as the guy who stopped abortion in America. I want to be the guy.
Hmm.
Me, like me, whatever.
Yeah.
Would that would that
Yes, I
change? Would
would
that be
at
the
that
same?
if that was your goal, then yeah, I would think you're lying. I would think that you are a liar, or at
Well,
least
I mean,
that
I don't know.
you are not to be
I
trusted.
still think I still think that you can still want for the best of the country by your ideology. I
No,
think people's
I would say in that
ideologies.
case you also don't want what's best for the country. Like the point would be to be infamous.
Well, what if I think that would be the best for the country?
Um, I don't trust. I wouldn't trust that. If you were to come out and say that, I wouldn't trust you.
Well, it's not what I guess people would trust. It's what I genuinely think, and that's what I'm saying with Trump. Trump thinks he's genuinely the
I
best for the country.
I think that's incredibly unlikely. I think it's
You
maybe a
said
one
that. I mean,
percent
but you said
chance.
that earlier. You said Trump thinks he's the best president ever under Donald Trump.
Sure, but I mean,
Right. So hold on.
I don't
You
think
said
that
Trump was
the difference is I don't think his goal is what is best for the country. He may think that he's incidentally the best for the country or whatever, but I don't think his goal is serving the country. I think his goal is serving himself.
right, but again, his ideology would be he thinks he's the best for the country, and so he's doing this because he thinks he's doing it for the country. I'm not saying that it
Yeah,
is best for the
I just
country.
don't I don't buy that. I don't believe that. And
Well, again,
I
it's
think you
not what
could
you buy.
probably
It's what Trump does. You don't think of Trump. So you already said
no.
Trump thinks he's the best under Donald Trump. So Trump thinking it the best would
But
be thinking that he's doing
I
what's
don't
best for
think
the
his
country.
goal is to be the best president. I think his goal is to be powerful. And I think that's the
I
case
mean,
for
sure.
any tyrant. I think their main goal is not the benefit of the country. Their main goal is being the most powerful person.
I mean, sure. I
I
mean, you
think
could
that's a
say
bad
that,
aim.
but
I
two
think
things
that's an
can be.
incredibly
Those two things
scary
can.
aim.
Sure. That's why I'm not a big Trump guy. But I mean,
Well, not
sure.
that's not only like I think the conviction doesn't match the claim there. Like if we're saying I think that's the reason that I wanted to talk to you is that like if we do believe that Donald Trump is only interested in entrenching power for himself, that he lied to the American people to try and uproot our democracy, that he's against that, like he doesn't really value the Constitution all that much, that he's willing to centralize power in order to serve his own egoistic aims. I feel like if that is the character read that we both have of Donald Trump, we should get a stronger condemnation than like, yeah, I'm not really that big of a Trump guy. I feel like that calls for like an incredibly larger response.
I mean, what do you want me to say, man?
It's not even so
I
much what I want you to say. It's just like I don't understand what the barrier is between you and making that statement. I don't know what is preventing you from making that statement.
um by what statement specifically? Just saying
Like
I'm not a
a much
Republican
larger
anymore.
no, like a much larger condemnation of Donald Trump than like I don't know how I feel about him, or I'm not the biggest Trump fan. Like I
Well, yeah,
feel like
I'll
there should be
say
a much larger
I'll lay out.
condemnation of Donald Trump if this is the view that we have of him, you know?
Sure. I mean, I could list everything I don't think Trump's good on
It's not
and say
only
that he
that, like
needs to.
I think if that's the view that we have of Donald Trump, that we shouldn't just be saying like I kind of disagree with him on some stuff, or like I have policy disagreements with him. I think
Oh,
what
I
we
mean,
should be
not even
saying is
kind of.
that I think he does hate the Constitution. I think he only is here to serve himself. I think he is, a wannabe dictator. Like I feel like all of these
I
are
don't
fair
think so.
characterizations.
I think if he's a wannabe dictator, he would try something else. I just if
I mean,
we
he did.
just for me to make that claim, he would have to we would have to see what happens in 2029, right?
Not
Um,
not really. I mean, like if he lost an election and he tried to steal it, steal it back,
He doesn't. He doesn't think he
right?
lost it. That's a
But
big.
he
That's a
did. But
big
he
difference.
objectively did though. Like if he did lose an election, because I'm sure, like at his heart, do you think Putin really thinks that his people voted him out? Like probably not. But he still steals the fuck out of those elections, right? Like the Russian elections are
That's
rigged
a
as
lot
shit,
more.
right?
That's not, yeah. It was like 99.6 to 0.4.
Right,
That's pretty bad. Right.
I don't think that Putin does that because he genuinely thinks that he's going to lose an election. Like I think if you were to ask Vladimir Putin, like, hey, if you weren't, presupposing that he admits that he rigs the election, like, hey, if you weren't to rig the election, do you think he would still win? He'd probably say yes, right?
I don't know. I haven't. I don't look into Putin too
I
much.
would say probably he would
You tell
probably
me.
say yes. I would say he would probably say yes because that's just again, it's the big like autocrats have an ego. There's a reason why they think they should be the most powerful person ever, right? That's they have an ego. They don't think that they may use rhetoric like this is what's best for the country. They may think that they are best for the country, but that's not their goal. Their goal is centralization of power.
Sure. I guess. I guess our disagreement would be on. I think people's ideologies and what people believe is what they think could be best for the country majority of the time
Um,
in politics.
we could even
That would be our
say I
disagreement.
could even grant that, but the difference is that Donald Trump is not operating on a normal U.S. political ground. Like
Well, no,
he does not
also,
have a normal philosophy. He does not have a Mitt Romney philosophy. I think Mitt Romney may think that he has like the best intentions for the country or whatever. I think I would say that maybe even 70% of American politicians think they're doing what's best for the country. Donald Trump is not one of them. He is somebody that infinitely wants to expand his own power. And
I don't know.
if we're conceding that Donald Trump is doing all of this stuff because he is so egotistical that he can't acknowledge that the American people disagree with him, then at that point, I don't know how we can say that he's serving the American people like and that's his main goal and not just serving himself and like expanding the power of himself.
I don't know, man. I also I gotta get back into politics too.
You're good.
I
So
gotta get back into politics.
and this is the kind of conversation that I was looking for, right? Because I
Yeah.
wasn't expecting like a concession, right? Like I wasn't coming here trying to debate bro you. I
Well, that's good.
I genuinely did want to pick at your brain, right? Like I want to know what the barriers are here. Like I couldn't tell. I think I do know what the barrier is now. I think it's just the amount of charity that you have towards Donald Trump. I think that's it. I'm much less charitable to Donald Trump because I'm like naturally and hey, listen, if you lean into the libertarian thing, you may meet me, all right, because I'm very sympathetic to libertarian philosophies,
Well,
or at
also,
least
like,
to always be skeptical of big government, right?
do you maybe think that it's ways we grew up? I don't know how you grew up, but obviously, I grew up in a conservative household.
Yeah, obviously.
I mean, yeah, it also could be ways we grew up because
Mhm.
you don't. I guess I would be. I guess I'm gonna have to admit this. I'm looking at things that I have for issues or my ideas on issues,
Mhm.
and then I see myself like maybe possibly seeing like leftist ideas or like Democrats' ideas. I'm like, I mean, whatever, it could work.
Mhm.
And I'm kind of scared of that because I don't wanna be a Democrat.
Yeah,
These dirty little Democrats. I don't wanna do that. So
you know what you
it's
have to
also kind
do?
of what
You have to break the two-party system, all right? Don't identify as a Democrat. Just also don't identify as a Republican.
I would identify as Republican. I still have the conservative values that Ronald Reagan Republican would have.
You can you can do that, but you also have to acknowledge that the character of today's Republican Party is not the same character as the Republican Party from the 80s.
Well,
This is
yeah,
a
that's
different
why.
Republican Party.
That's why I'm the Republican Party from the '80s.
At that point, you probably shouldn't call yourself a Republican then.
I don't think so because I think there's a lot of people in the Republican Party.
I'm
I
not
think that.
calling it kind
Well,
of
also
feels
I think
like
that I think the MAGA socialists to the left. It's to the 2008 Democrats. That's the
it
MAGA
kind
on the
of feels
social
like
movement.
you're like, yeah, I'm a Nazi, but like before like Hitler took
What?
power. You know, like
What?
that's what no, I'm not
No,
calling you a
it's
Nazi,
not.
but I'm
No, it's
saying
not.
like I'm not calling you a Nazi, but I'm saying like if you identified with like being a national socialist, right? But you don't agree with killing all the Jews, then it's a really strange thing to still identify with that party, right? Like if
That's a big stretch because I
it
don't
is a big
think
stretch, it is
Republicans
a
are
big
killing
stretch.
all the
Yes, I
Jews.
agree.
Yeah,
I agree. It's a big stretch, but the thing that I'm pointing out is that like
actually,
if
no, we should
you
all just bow down to Israel. So
the thing that I was pointing out is that if you have ideals that are sympathetic to of a specific era of republicanism, right? But that's not representative. Like when we use language, it's to communicate an idea succinctly, right? So if you say I'm a Republican, we all know what people are thinking of. They're thinking of the Republicans of now, right? Um,
sure.
when you identify yourself as a Republican, you are implicitly throwing your lot in with the Republican Party of now. That's why, like, I think we need to break from the two party identification. Now, I call myself a Democrat because, for all intents and purposes, I am a Democrat. I agree with the Democrats on like 80% of things. But if you agree with the Republicans on like 50% of things, and you disagree with the Democrats on like 80% of things, I don't really think you feel at home with any of the
No,
parties.
I
I
don't
don't.
think that's what's happening with me. I think you might have misunderstood me. I think with Trump now, like the
Mhm,
Republicans now, I think the problem I would have with it is I don't necessarily disagree with what they're saying. I just kind of disagree with how we do it. Like the deportations, for example.
mhm,
I mean, sure, do you want to deport illegal immigrants? That's fine. But I would
mhm,
say, hey, maybe let's go after the bad ones first so we can
mhm.
get the truly bad people out of the country,
Sure,
right?
but that's
But as
the way to implement it is a really fundamental part to the party, right?
well,
Like
I mean,
if I said
sure.
I don't want any more crime, and there was a party that said I don't want any more crime, I wouldn't throw my lot in with that party if their way of getting rid of crime is having a soldier at everybody's door, making sure they can't come outside so they can't
Well,
commit
that's because
crime,
well,
right?
no, because crime isn't wouldn't be a crime. Getting rid of crime, as I think every party would agree with that. But
Mm-hmm.
deportations is something that I would say 65% of Democrats don't agree with.
It depends
I
on
mean,
what kind of
I've heard so,
deportations you're talking about, but
no
I mean,
one is
like,
a remember, no one is illegal on stolen land. I mean, that's just what some
that's
22-year-old
a
liberal told me.
that's yeah, that's not what a 22-year-old liberal will tell you. That's what a 22-year-old leftist will tell you. There's a really big difference between leftists and
Yeah,
liberals.
you're right. Would you call yourself a leftist or a liberal?
I'm a liberal.
Are liberals more moderate? I'm guessing
Yes.
closer to moderate. Okay,
Liberals
got it.
stand for like capitalism, they stand for free expression, they stand for free
Wholly
markets, they stand
based.
for it's this there's a reason why most of the Republicans that aren't fucking batshit crazy don't come out and throw their lot in with the modern Republicans. There's a reason why Mitt Romney is cast aside as a rhino, why John McCain was cast aside as a rhino. I'm pretty sure Mitt Romney even came out and endorsed Kamala Harris, didn't he?
I wouldn't do
Um,
that because I think MAGA on a social level is liberal or close to the left or left.
I
Then
don't think MAGA is I think a fundamentally illiberal movement. I don't think
yeah,
they
I
believe
think
in
well, MAGA was created.
liberalism.
We also have to remember why MAGA was made or why Trump got so popular. It's because he kind of like somehow a billionaire related to a bunch of working people.
I can tell you exactly how it was. It's that he just did the populism. He just did the populism brain rot.
Right, yes, and that's why
Yeah.
he would have to go to left like on such things like abortion because he would have
Hmm.
to say, "Oh, well, I think that the Republican Party now would say, rape if someone gets raped, then they should have access to abortion." And
Yeah.
that's Trump going into that.
Uh-huh.
So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I would not call myself a MAGA Republican, but I would call myself a Republican. Kill me, shoot me, whatever.
I think the distinction doesn't exist anymore. I think that's the problem. Is that like when
Dude,
you're I think if you were to maybe this is a better analogy.
I'm one of
You're
the
to
few
say,
left. Like we're almost extinct. We're almost extinct.
if you were to say like yeah, I'm a racist, but like only in the
What?
sense that I think that like black people have more melanin. It's like okay, I guess that's a distinction between racists, right? But like we all know what you mean when you say racist, right? Like we all understand when somebody says I'm a racist. We know what that means, right? But when
I
you
don't know.
say I'm a Republican, I don't I don't think people get an accurate read of what your ideology is. And that's the point of these labels is to
Well, that's
give
why they gotta
people
have the
a
conversation with. That's why they gotta have. That's why people gotta be like you and have conversations with
sure, but like
people.
why even use the label at that point, right?
Because I'm a Republican. That's what I am. I mean, still. I mean, I'm
I
not.
don't
not
think you are. I think the definition of
I
Republican has changed.
sure. I mean, that's why I say I'm an older classical Republican, as I would call it.
think you just got to say that you're. I don't know. Say you're a libertarian.
No, I mean, I could say I'm a libertarian and then vote Republican. So I
That's
don't
what I
believe in
did. That's
voting
what I
for.
throughout like most of the run up to the election. I didn't like super identify with the Democratic Party because I didn't at the time. But I knew that I viewed Donald Trump as an existential threat, so I'm going to vote against whoever the Democrats put up because I don't want Donald Trump. Right? So I mean,
Whatever.
but during the run up, I wasn't calling myself a Republican or a Democrat. I'm still incredibly hesitant to come out and label myself as a Democrat because I do break from the party on a decent amount of stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm going to vote for the Democrats. That's probably the case. I'm not. I'm
I don't.
going to vote against the Republicans right now. But that doesn't mean
I
I need
still
to
think.
call myself a
I
Democrat,
still think
right?
I'm a. I think I still think I'm a Republican though, because I have Republican values, like just economic. Whatever you call it. Okay.
Sure, but I mean, like
I
your
honestly.
Republican values are things that I think are more universal than you think. So, like abortion, you are absolutely on the right, right? Like that's not debatable. That's a right wing position that you have. Though no
That's
Democrat is
my.
going to
That's
agree with
actually
you
my
on that.
most. That's my most. No, like MAGA Republican might not even agree. Actually, maybe some, but I mean,
Right. Yeah, and
I
that's
mean, I don't
that's a
know.
that's an outside like not believing in the exception for rape is outside of the even the norms for the Republican Party. So I don't even know if you super align with the Republican Party there. But other than that, like I don't think you have super strong opinions, right? So I don't know if you tie to one of the parties particularly on that. On social values, like do I don't know what your social values are.
Just ask me questions. I'll tell you.
Do you support gay marriage?
I'm torn. I'm a little bit torn. I
Um,
I went through this era where I was like, gay marriage, cool, whatever. And
mhm.
then I started listening to a lot of Michael Knowles, and I was like, oh,
Cringe.
right. And then I started listening to Hayden Rodea. I'm like, oh. And then I'm like, well, I mean, it's whatever. So I'm a little bit torn on it now, but I think the modern Republican Party would agree with it.
Um, sure, sure. There's a well, no, I don't. I actually don't think so. I think Trump probably agrees with it, but like a lot of the mainstream figures on the Republican Party don't agree with it. Like if you look at Ben Shapiro, if you look
Oh
at
no,
Michael Knowles, if you look at
I think
even,
Ben Shapiro's fine with it. Ben Shapiro's probably fine with it. It's
I mean,
I
he
mean,
literally got in like a giant controversy for telling Dave Rubin he wouldn't come to his wedding, right?
you can be in saying gay marriage should be legal in the United States, but also saying I won't support it.
I don't think he believes it should be legal.
I don't know. I don't do Ben Shapiro very much.
But regardless,
But also
I
like,
would say I would probably say over 50% of the Republicans think it should
well,
be
what about like
legal.
Charlie Kirk? I know like that thing happened with Charlie Kirk or whatever,
Charlie
but
Kirk, I think
Charlie Kirk was
I
for
think
gay marriage.
was he?
He was for it. Yeah,
Are you
absolutely.
certain? Wait, hold on. I have to look.
I saw a question.
Charlie Kirk
Someone
gay
asked a question and he
marriage.
said, I think this is what he said. Again, don't take the trust me, bro. But he said we don't live in a theocracy, so I do believe that gay marriage should be okay.
What a cop out answer. That's a good answer though. That's I just wish
Also,
he
like off topic, what's your whole opinion on the Charlie Kirk thing?
um this may cause a whole nother thing. I think it was obviously bad. Political violence is bad. Should always condemn political violence. A lot of people on the left were really hesitant to condemn it or were celebrating it, and I think that was insane. But I also think Republicans were doing full crocodile tears, and nobody. I don't think either of the mainstream political parties really care all that much about political violence, and they just care that it's their side.
I should agree with that. Yeah, my side wasn't with that.
Because, like,
I gained a lot of respect for like Dean Withers. I guess I'd say,
mhm,
you know,
I
but I'd
guess,
say that so sad. It's sad. I mean, I'm just saying, if your like initial reaction to someone like getting shot in the neck, and his children are running up to him because they're scared of the noise,
mhm,
then like you're just defeated, dude. Like it's just sad. I can't believe some people would still like support. Even like now, I'll see a video of Erica Kirk like crying, and then people like say, "Oh, she's acting." It's like, dude, like her
yeah,
husband just was brutally murdered, and you're just gonna say that?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. It's crazy, but I mean, at the same time, I'm sure if you talk to any left leaning person about it, like we can feign outrage about it, and I think it's right to feign outrage about it. But the same people that do never call out Don Jr. for posting the Paul Pelosi Halloween costume after the one dude fractured his skull, never came out and like made a meaningful condemnation of the Melissa Hoytman shooting. Never like a lot of these things,
Well, I mean,
you
you
just
could
have to be
say I
consistent.
think here maybe this could be better. I would say more Democrats were hating on Charlie Kirk or happy that Charlie Kirk was killed than Republicans who were happy that Joe Biden had cancer.
No, I disagree. But even then, like, I think even that's uncomparable because like it was just a natural thing that happened to Joe Biden. Like that wasn't a political attack. If we're comparing two political attacks, like let's look at the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and we'll even throw in like the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, and then compare it to the Republican reaction to Paul Pelosi or the Republican reaction to the Minnesota lawmakers. I think the Republicans acted in a way more disgusting
I'm not
way,
very
and
familiar.
more
Oh, I don't
prominent
know about that.
Republicans reacted in a
I
disgusting way.
dude, I was when Charlie Kirk got shot,
Mm.
and I see Dean Withers is live. I'm like, okay, let me go check out this dude, right? Whatever. And his chat is, I'm telling you, it was some of the worst things I've ever read.
Well,
It's just hate.
it's the
It's
distinction
just hate.
again. Dean has an incredibly far left base. He doesn't have a base of liberals. He has a base of leftists. There's a reason why he got fucking canceled for one of his tour organizers saying microaggressions. Right? That's not a thing that liberals do. It's a thing that far leftists do. So like obviously a lot of people who are like socialists who believe in like violent revolution to place the means of production into people's hands, they're going to be violent. They're going to glorify violence. But when you see like left-leaning people glorifying violence, you're looking at leftists on Twitter, you're looking at like no-name Twitter accounts, you're looking at maybe a fringe like Maxine Waters, maybe. Even then I think those quotes are overblown, but like those are the kind of people you see. Whereas when you look at the right's reaction, you see Donald Trump Jr. tweeting out jokes about Paul Pelosi after he got his skull fractured. You see Donald Trump making jokes about Paul Pelosi after he got his skull fractured. You see
I'm
Mike.
not familiar with that exactly, to be honest with you.
I encourage you to look at it. It's like it's
Oh yeah,
insane.
absolutely, I will.
Like the
But
the the
the
scale.
Minnesota lawmaker thing, I didn't see any Republicans really joking on that. I really didn't.
I mean, there was the famous Mike Lee tweet that posted the picture of the killer, and it said "Nightmare on Wall Street," right? And he's like he's an elected official. Like it's pretty crazy.
Well, if we're going by elected official, the I guess politicians acting in a unprofessional manner about things, and I will grant you that Republicans act, I guess, more disrespectful. I guess we're talking
Sure,
about
I'm
like
saying I'm
voters
saying
and
like you may be able to find. I don't even know if I would grant that the left-wing voter base is more violent. I don't think I would grant that either. But even if I were to, I would say way more prominent Republicans are way more disgusting in their rhetoric. Like if you compare the rhetoric between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, it's night and day. If you were to compare the rhetoric, even between like the furthest extremes, if you were to compare the rhetoric between Mike Lee and Maxine Waters, I think it's still easily worse on the Republican side. But
I
the
think
voter base,
on
I mean, I don't know. Like we
well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that elected officials, Republicans act more unprofessional. I mean, I'll give you that.
even
But
the voter
voter
base. I mean,
base,
like
and I really just think Democrats acted
now here's the
more
question:
like hateful to
Do you
Charlie
think
Kirk.
that it plays into it the fact that the far right are often not seen speaking in public because they're far more conspiratorial and far more socially ostracized. Like you're more likely to see the opinion of a online Twitter communist than you are an online Twitter Nazi, right? So like it's
Well, I don't know.
possible that you're not exposed.
Nick Fuentes is on Twitter,
Nick
so
Fuentes, in the grand scheme of things, Nick Fuentes probably isn't as far right as like who I'm talking about. Like you, I think one of the reasons that there's this perception that the left is more violent or they give more violent rhetoric. I don't know if you can still hear me or not, but I'm just going to keep talking anyway. Um, I think the reason why there's this perception that the left is more violent is because the far left is far more like has far more violent rhetoric than the bog standard Democrat, and you have way more exposure to the far left of America than you have exposure to the far right of America. Like the far
that's
right
actually a
is
very good point. Yeah, you're
yeah.
absolutely right. I'm just gonna grant you that, bro. Like you got that.
Um,
content in some way.
I'll tell you what. I feel like we're probably at a standstill. I feel like this conversation went pretty well. I think it went pretty well. I feel like I have a better view of your brain. Um, Listen, I'm not going on polymarket or anything, but I have a feeling that you're going to get less and less sympathetic of Donald Trump as you move on, and I encourage it and I cheer on. I cheer it on. Um,
I don't think
yeah, I
I'd
don't
be
know.
getting more to the left, though. I will tell you that. I don't think I'm getting to the left at all. I
Maybe
think that
not, but I mean,
if I'm getting anywhere, if I'm moving anywhere, it's libertarian.
if we can get to the point where we both view Donald Trump as like a real threat to the country, um, honestly, I'm interested in. I think one of the biggest problems right now is the sane washing of Donald Trump and his administration. So even outside of electoralism, I think the rhetoric just has to change. I think we have to stop painting Donald Trump as if he's a normal politician or as if he's a sane person that's driven by anything else than his ego. Um, I think that the painting of the Republicans and the Democrats as like equal here, or even as the Democrats being more big government or the Republicans being less big government is something that's really really harmful right now. I think people are way too charitable to Donald Trump.
I got that. Um,
Yeah.
Also, off topic again.
Mm-hmm.
I am really
Oh, you're
liking
good.
the disagree better thing. Those I think is the Utah governor started.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where
I
like
think that
they did
that's so
the
based,
campaign together.
so based. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
gosh, that's great because I think our politicians have forgotten what they're supposed to do, or they haven't forgotten. They're just doing the wrong thing. The voters have forgotten what our politicians are for. Like,
Representing the people.
yeah,
Yeah.
you work for me, Tommy Tuberville. You work for me,
Mm-hmm.
and then but it feels like it's the other way around. It feels like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
I agree.
pretty sad,
Yeah.
but
Okay. Well,
I
I
guess
think.
I'll say this. I don't think I'd ever vote Democrat just because of my conservative values
Mm-hmm.
I would hold on like things like that. I don't know. But this was pretty fun. Definitely have
Definitely
me on
fun.
again. This was cool.
Yeah, I like going through stuff like this, and I like that you are you're an open person. And I love that. All right, online dialogue is always it feels like talking to a wall, which is why I try
Oh my
to I really try to not let my conversations with people online like dictate the way that I think about the country, because I acknowledge that people who are willing to go online and talk about politics are probably either insane or way more knowledgeable or way more bold. Um so it's really refreshing talking to a person who's a real person rather than talking to a person who's coming on to be performative or coming on to do screaming matches. Which listen, I'll come on and do screaming matches all that we want to. All right, it's fun sometimes. I'm a shit
You know what
flinger.
I'm gonna do?
I'm a shit
You know
flinger,
what I
but
should absolutely do? I have a buddy, right? His
mm-hmm,
name's Diego. Okay.
mm-hmm,
He has no clue about politics. No idea. And he said he went up to me the other day, he said, Bentley, you ever have some stupid person come up on your live, get me up there and I will just rage bait him. Just rage bait him.
uh-huh,
He said, get Dean Withers on your live, because Dean's been in my chat a few times. He said, get Dean Withers on your live. And
mm-hmm,
I will debate him, but not debate him. I'll rage bait him. Just like the
yeah,
whole nah things. That would be hilarious.
yeah. I will say it probably wouldn't work super well with me. I just kick those people, um, but yeah.
Yeah, I usually do. Yeah. Or you gotta just I just try to stay calm in debates.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't understand screaming. Because then when you're screaming, you're not getting anywhere. And then what I like to do is I like to find a middle ground with people because I don't
So
want to end the debate mad. I don't want to do that.
I mean I think it's fun if somebody's gonna come in and they're gonna be a shithead and they're gonna be like a brick wall. They're not gonna actually have a conversation. But I think it's fun to just scream at them for a little bit. It's entertaining.
Right, yeah, just rage
Um,
bait him a little bit.
yeah. But like the problem with like coming to the middle on a particular thing, it can be okay, but only if you're continuing to pull what the middle is. Like fuck, what's the thing where it's like one person thinks that we should fill the bag, like we're having dinner, right? And one
Huh.
person thinks that it should be shit, and the other person thinks that it should be chicken. Like meeting in the middle there would be like, okay, well, what if we only like half digest it and then throw it up? It's like, well, no. I don't want to do that. I want to have chicken, right? Like I don't want to
Well,
meet
what
in
I
the
like
middle
to do is
between with the person that wants to eat shit, you
not
know?
even like just meet in the middle. Not even that. I guess I would say like agree to disagree. Disagree better,
Yeah.
basically. The whole
Yeah.
thing. You know, we can have our differences and still work together.
hmm
We
The
we can
the
have our differences.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. It's just the only thing I yearn for more in politics, specifically online, is just good faith. I just wish people could have real conversations. I wish people could accurately describe their thought processes. Like I can't name the amount of times. Oh, it was so frustrating. I just talked to this one person for like an hour and a half. And it was a guy who called himself a constitutionalist at the beginning of the conversation, right? I'm walking him
Uh-huh.
down on this, and he admits that, like, okay, well, this deportation, this invocation of emergency power, okay, this action on January 6th, it was probably against the Constitution, but I still support him. It's like, what a fucking constitutionalist you are, dude! Like, what is
Right.
happening,
Yeah.
right? So, like,
I don't
I just
know.
wish people would honestly represent why they believe a way that they do or why they vote a way that they do, and it's probably because a lot of people don't really know. Like a lot of people probably subconsciously think like, oh, Donald Trump's really funny, right? And I like watching him speak more, so I'm gonna vote for him so I can watch him
Yeah.
speak more.
Donald Trump is really funny. Like
But then when you go up on like a political live, you have to kind of make up reasons, right? Because you can't come up and say I think he's funny because you're gonna look ridiculous. So I think people will
yeah.
come up and like invent justifications when doing that gets you nowhere. It's like lying to your
Honestly,
doctor.
if you're probably like doing that and you just support Trump because he's funny, you probably shouldn't be on a political live either way.
True, but who's that ever stopped, right? Who's it ever
Right.
stopped to
Free
say you
will.
shouldn't be on a political live? They'll come on anyway.
Hey, I'll take the viewers, bro. I'll take the viewers.
Well,
I
that's
have
why I'm
old
here.
MAGA ladies that's in my DMs, right? You know.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. All right, bro. It was cool talking to you. Definitely,
Yep.
definitely have me on again.
Yep. I
100%.
appreciate you.
But
I appreciate you coming on.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Have a great night, man.
Yep. You too. Okay.